should one of us run it? Should we all try to introduce the show simultaneously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good bit. Yeah, and then who's gonna take over after it though?
We spent a half hour trying to figure it out.
If I learned anything from Tim Heidecker's comedy special, it's drive a bit into the ground for 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. That'd be so funny. We're spending 10 minutes going. No, you go.
No.
You go.
You got it. Usually whenever you do it, it works better. And that.
please, no, I insist. No, you go.
I assumed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Please, it's okay. I'm not mad. We're good.
I mean, I'm just trying to let you guys figure it out, and then I'll kind of just chime in.
I feel like one of you guys you could lead, and then like the rest of us could talk. But sorry. I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to impose. I don't want to impose. Or
I mean, I could totally do it if somebody really wanted me to.
Listen, I don't. Someone could do it. Somebody.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it usually crashes and burns when you do it. But listen, by all means, I believe in you. You can do it. It's gonna be fine. I believe in you. So you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
All right. Here's the.
Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Oh, it's you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. Well, you can get courageous, and.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's
episode.
It's episode 2 something.
5 current
5. Yeah, 5.
Current gen.
205 for all of our foreign listeners.
No, you got it. You're nailing it.
Yeah.
With the bilingual approach too, that really helps. That really sells.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kyle, do you have anything to add to that? Or?
You know what? I feel like I was gonna wait for you to finish, but ultimately I was probably gonna take over, and I was gonna just keep on talking about starting the show instead of like just continuing this. But like I just maybe y'all have a different opinion. I don't really know. I don't want to overstep my boundaries. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. That's totally fair, and I wouldn't want to do that to any of you either. I
mean, I have a very objective opinion about all of this, but I'm just not gonna.
Based in a reality that that is true. That is true.
I'm kind of a feelings over facts, guys. So like I don't. I'm just your objective truth and maybe my feelings. It's a basketball game and we're all playing. You know what I mean?
I see both sides of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's So I'm Jeff, and then we have Dan, of course.
Yeah.
Dan.
I
want to say Kyle.
I think that's me. Yeah.
I think that's Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's episode 205.
There it is. Bring it home.
Bring it home. We're finished. We're at the end, at the finish line.
Is that the end of the bit? Oh, okay.
No, I'm at the end of the episode. We've already we did all the stuff.
Even better. I got movies to watch and games to play and.
That made as much sense as Death Stranding, so that was thematic of why we did that. So
yeah, exactly.
Press start.
Are we going to talk about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? I know we're all playing it and loving it.
Speaking of dumb.
Yes, I absolutely played this game.
I totally played it, and by played it with the asterisk there, I meant I played 20 minutes of the closed alpha.
Yeah.
It is a game. It came out.
You were gifted with the foreknowledge. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I get to try this now and go no before you even have to have this existential question with yourself of whether or not you're going to buy it or not game day. But
I legitimately tried to. Obviously, this has been going through the ringer since it was revealed, and people were getting. I think this is a live service game vibes from it, and. Ever since it was first revealed as that, and then I think they did that gameplay overview however many months ago. They kept trying to avoid the words like live service. They were like, "This is a narrative. This is story driven." It's like we're still seeing through all that, but then it got delayed and whatnot. Anyway, so everybody's been kind of bitching about this one way or another, and now I feel like I'm seeing more comments that are like, "Game is fun, LOL. What's your problem?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, we've circled back to the not hating it train.
Well, that's because you have to be against the grain. You don't stand out unless you're standing out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So of course people
you can't put people in a box
on this one.
Right. It's true. You can't. You really can't. Especially because
look at our good friend Derek.
Oh, you know what the box is. Yeah.
You know, Derek's always swimming in the sevens, a sea full of sevens. He's just swimming in it, you know.
You know,
He's
a
got
good dip in some
seven
sevens
floaties
can
when he
feel
goes into
good
the pool.
sometimes, you know. But I guess for transparency, none of us played this game.
No, it's
None
why
of
it's
us
not in the
want to play
thumbnail.
this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
I have a passing interest of buying it one day for $20 and playing its 10-hour campaign and then uninstalling it and never playing it again. That will probably happen, you know.
Yeah,
but
same
like,
here. If it were for the
Here's the
price
thing.
of free.
Yeah, go. What's up?
I think the game looks like visually looks nice. Like
I think the character
Rocksteady makes
models are
nice looking
excellent,
games.
and I think
Yeah.
it's some of the best facial
Yeah.
technology. But you know, like that was
Like
never.
in the cinematics and stuff like that. Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Like I think their facial
Um,
expressions are like really like. There's a lot of gags
Yeah.
that like where the jokes actually land. I was actually laughing at some of the stuff that I saw, and it's like played off because of like their facial animations and stuff like that. You know, and that's really hard to pull off. You know.
That's
Like
pretty good.
even
Yeah.
games like whatchamacallit, like your Until Dawns and your the Quarries or whatever, where it's like
Yeah.
they pride themselves on like realistic facial. They still like have that like weird face sometimes where they're like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
they
especially
get
the super
teethy,
massive.
you know.
Super
The
massive
eyes are
guys
pointing
like,
up
And the eyes
their
are like
eyes
way
are,
too
all over the
expressive. Like
place.
this doesn't have any of those problems. So like
Their heads
you
are
know,
moving unnaturally. Like, man,
Right.
we should just really go over there. I'm just saying.
This has
Like,
none
what's
of those
wrong with
problems.
them?
The mocap in this is like excellent and like just so we're not totally trashing on this game.
Right.
There are some like I've seen some qualities that are pretty good. Like Metropolis looks awesome. Like that whole
I'll allow it. Yeah.
yeah. With some tentacles, it looks cool. Like all of it looks cool. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel, and I don't want to. I guess I don't want to talk too much about it because like none of us have played it except for you, who played like 20 minutes. You know.
Yeah, it was just I played enough of all four characters to be like, oh, this traversal just doesn't. I don't vibe with this traversal at all. Like it just doesn't feel fast enough or intuitive enough. And the combat is a little because you're supposed to combine traversal and combat. That's supposed to be
much like
Crackdown.
That Sunset Overdrive game.
Oh yeah.
It's much like that, like where it's all about like building kind of locomotion and firing while going. You know.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like shooting yourself up with like a jetpack or whatever character you have, and then like shooting down, aiming and shooting down, and then jetpacking and shooting more. But it just didn't feel. The traversal got in the way of me enjoying the combat, and then the combat itself, when you're actually just on the ground shooting like a regular third-person shooter, it's average, you know. So it's just not enough.
I did hear that like a couple hours in, all that stuff starts gelling, but I'm like, it takes 2 hours for it to to gel.
That's once you start getting all the loot, right? Which is another problem is getting all of the loot.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's and you know another thing that I can we can objectively kind of critique, since again we really haven't played it much, is that like one of the fun parts of these games are costumes, right? You know, like Spider-Man, like being able to change your costume 1,000 times before you get to your next like crime spree or whatever that you're stopping. Like this game has like 4 to unlock in game, and then everything else is behind a paywall.
Wow.
And a couple of the 4 are like variations of like their prison clothing, so it's not even like their like real clothing, you know. So it's like
something you would never equip. Yeah.
You don't get cool options like while you're playing the game. You know, maybe that happens later as you're grinding for crap on the battle pass. You know, on the end game side of things. You know. But I heard that stuff is all repetitive and you're not doing anything extra at the end game. It's just the same style of missions you're doing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I heard some people are having fun with the shooting. If this is a cool third-person shooter for a lot of people, that's great, you know. But like, this has got a big DC name on it. Like, it should feel like we're controlling superheroes or supervillains, you know.
I was ready
not like dudes with a couple guns, you know.
I was ready to like celebrate this game being a surprise win, and then be kind of like being like with Gotham Knights. You and I played that at launch together for the most part through the campaign. Yeah, exactly. And it was just such a great game, like genuinely a great game.
Yeah.
From the moment it came out, there might have been a couple crashes at launch because it's open world, but that's it. You know, there was nothing like, okay, I can't see you. Okay, I can't see the boss now. Okay, I can't see. There wasn't really any of that. Not that Suicide Squad has that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, I heard it runs
that
pretty
Gotham
well,
Knights
besides the
impressed
first
me.
day woes. I heard
the first day early access woes for the deluxe people that spent like over $100 on it.
Yeah.
But like there wasn't anything in the game that made me go, this is a 6 out of 10 experience. Like, and immediately I just loved the game and I wanted to see it through. But Suicide Squad, I even had trouble just picking up right away. Like it was just kind of like, and I'm talking about the closed alpha. I just struggled with, I don't know, just finding any gratification through the.
Was it alpha specifically or beta?
It was alpha. I don't know why, because it was like not even that long before launch. I was like, this game comes out like in a month or 2 months. Why is it just now closed alpha? I feel like the beta.
Yeah.
Like I think the beta for Skull and Bones just happened, and that game is still. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So, like,
I don't think much about this game has made sense. You know. Since,
I know it's very confusing.
Yeah,
like,
since
the beta
started,
is like a week before launch. Then I don't understand what the timeline, but whatever. That's their problem. But I tried to watch at least the IGN video review, and not a lot of them had trickled out because they didn't get the press or reviewers, whatever you want to call them, did not really get early codes like they normally do for other launches. So they had to play it at early access like everybody else did. So IGN just put theirs up, and I couldn't even finish the review because the HUD is so busy. Not just the HUD, but the action combined with the HUD is so busy that it was like hurting my eyes. I was like, this is way too much. I don't know what to focus on. Like you
can scale all that back apparently, but I don't know why.
Good. I didn't know
why
that.
Is that. But why is that the? You know what I mean? Why is that the normal? Like here, look at this like almost blinding. You know? Setup we have
crap
here.
in every corner and on the sides and up and around. And then the action itself is like you get to see the damage counter every time you make a shot and stuff like that. And that's kind of annoying when there's that many enemies around.
I don't know. I think we're out of our phase of like I need numbers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like when I shoot people in games, like
I like the enemy bar. Like that's about it. That's all I need. I don't need to see numbers. Like that did 30 damage. I don't care.
You just put the you just give the option. I'm always like, listen, you can just give me the option. Like accessibility.
When it's like,
I'm here with that.
When the number is in Suicide Squad's case, the number is like single digits because you're using like a you're using like a machine gun or whatever, and it's like 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2, and I'm like, do I need to see every single one of those? Like it just doesn't. It's kind of like Division. Kind of. I don't know if they did exactly the numbers. I thought it was more like the health bars, which made more sense.
It was a bar,
the health. See, that's where I get the health bar idea from. Like I like it that way. I like it that way.
Jeff, tell me why.
There it is.
Tell me why. It's a loaded question. It's ain't nothing but a heartache, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
This was nothing but a mistake, is what this was.
Yeah, this reference, this whole thing. Yes, absolutely.
I don't ever want to hear you say.
We can definitely move on to. I certainly won't.
Actually,
you won't hear me say Suicide Squad again after this.
I actually do want to say one more thing.
Yeah. Please.
What is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Oh, you're not going to do the Will Smith joke? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it snuck in anyways.
I don't know if you guys have seen any of like the stuff that's all. I'm sure it's on TikTok too, but I just happen to notice it on Twitter. About story stuff, like moments that happen involving the Suicide Squad and the Justice League. Have you guys seen like snippets at all?
No,
things that happen to the Justice League.
I haven't really seen any of the details, but the game is called Kill the Justice League,
right?
And I know people are mad when Justice League members are dying in this game, and I'm like, I mean,
do you guys care if I say a detail here or a couple here or there? Do you guys care?
I mean, what kind of
I
detail?
don't care, but the game just came out, so I'm kind of like,
I think people might care.
So if anybody just doesn't want to know, and you know what, I won't even be that specific. There are things that are done to the Justice League by the Suicide Squad that are unsavory. Apparently, we'll use the word unsavory. There are cutscenes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the slowest.
What is this game
I've ever
called?
seen.
What is this game called?
Kill the Justice League.
What is this game called? Look at the title. You know, I'm gonna look at my notes here. It's called, Kyle, you just said it, Kill the Justice League. Okay.
Yeah. No, I know some people are like genuinely upset about what's happening in the game, and I'm
you don't understand that this is a game where they're saying, I don't give a shit, you know, superheroes, whatever. You're playing guys that are characters that are trying to kill the Justice League. However it happens, it is not the point. It's just, you know, if it
wasn't as advertised, I'd be like, dude, they mean heal the Justice League? Because I just fixed everybody. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, it's a literal subtitle. I don't you know, and I just don't.
But it's like,
and,
again,
isn't
because I'm
that
not
the
saying this.
cool of the game? Isn't like the whole thing? Like, hey, in this game, you get to kill the Justice League. I'm like, that's 99% of the experience. You know what I mean? That's 99% of why people are here. Sure, it's Suicide Squad game, sure, a DC game, stuff like that. But like the carrot on the string is killing the Justice League, right? Like,
But I'm talking about beyond the actual killing of them. There's one particular thing with the Flash, but I just will omit what it is, that people were like really angry about. And it's like, guys, listen, like, I mean, did you not see the Suicide Squad movie?
Yeah.
Did you not see how like violent and absurd that movie is? Like,
right.
I just, and also these are all fictitious characters. Why are we that mad because something perhaps a little unsavory happens to a possessed
and
hero?
we've come a long way, because remember, you used to not be able to brutally murder like the superheroes in DC versus MCU or whatever.
Yeah.
So like now, like WB's in a place where it's like, yeah, man, kill the shit out of these dudes, or let awful things happen to them. So
we'll just say it's a multiverse or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
It's probably what it is, to be honest.
It could be. I would not be surprised, because the stakes are so high that it makes me go, this is not the Prime Batman Arkham universe. You know what I mean? Like it's just a feeling. I don't know.
But yeah, I just think it's really funny, a bunch of actual people being that mad about fake things happening. Be
mad that you bought a 10-hour game that has no end game. Like, there's other things to be mad about,
Yeah,
like
in that game in particular, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
You're mad at the HUD.
Yeah.
It's just the HUD. Anyway, we can move on to games that we've actually played now.
Great.
We're going to talk way less about them, though. That's the catch. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, we play games?
Probably. That's usually how it goes, actually.
Let's move on to, let's just do Granblue Fantasy Relink, because I think Kyle's playing it. I played enough of the demo to know that I'm going to buy it at some point whenever there's a little more of not too much of a lull, but obviously because gaming is stupid right now, but a little bit more of a lull for me. But how are you feeling about the game so far?
I don't know where I got this from, but I thought it was going to be like a giant open world JRPG. Like, that's I don't know where I got that from. I tried to like trace back in a trailer where something said that or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, I guess I just totally expected it was something else or whatever. Surprisingly, and this is good for me. I know some people, if they were like, oh, I thought I was getting this, but I'm getting something else, they'd be pissed. But like for me, I'm like, yeah, I got enough big stuff right now. I don't need.
Yeah.
So this is a streamlined, linear, like go on a mission from a hub, like experience. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
Like Monster Hunter. It's literally Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter with a really, really, really nice combat system. But yeah, you're like getting like items from downed people and finding it in the environment and bringing it back and upgrading your gear and stuff like that. It's very Monster Hunter-y, but like it just like some of the coolest like combat I've played in a long time. Like it's just very, very fluid. It feels great. There's like 17 characters. Maybe there's like 20 something characters. I don't really remember. But like every single one of them control completely differently. Have like huge backstories that you can dive into via kind of interactive media, like in the game and stuff like that. And it's just meticulously put together in terms of just like how different everybody feels, So if like you're like, I just don't want to play this character anymore, you can just switch to somebody else, and like the game just feels completely different, I'm playing mostly with Gran, who's like the main character. He's a sword dude. But I'm also kind of switching back and forth with I forget the guy's name, but he's like a Han Solo charder. He's like, I fly the ship and I'm a pirate, And that's the other thing. I didn't know this was going to be so sky pirate heavy. This might as well just be the new Skies of Arcadia, in quotation marks, But vibe wise, like we're getting something we don't get a lot of, which I'm really enjoying. The graphics are absolutely spectacular.
Dude, it's freaking beautiful.
It's so crazy how good it looks. I'm not having very many frame issues, but like I'm not always the best person to maybe talk about that type of stuff. So it feels very solid, So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, man. I'm like 3.5 hours in. There's a lot to it in terms of like customizing your character and making them feel like your character. And from what I understand, after you beat the pretty short 20-hour campaign, the end game, like there's just like tons of huge bosses and different missions to go on and stuff like that. And like that's kind of like where your real development of your character starts, where all the characters are usable and you meet people online to go on like giant monster hunts or boss hunts to get rare materials and stuff. So, and these are like epic size bosses, guys. I mean, I saw some videos. It's ridiculous how Talk about like not knowing what's going on screen, Suicide
Yeah.
Squad. So that's funny. It's for that game. It's constantly like when you're just fighting foot soldiers. For this game, it make it's the big moments when it's supposed to be, so it's not just constantly berating you. I'm really enjoying this game. It's nice to like stop playing the other two big turn-based games we're playing right now to play something that's snappy and feels so good like this one, because it does feel kind of like a break, because it's just a really good combat system. So, have either of y'all played more? I know you played a little bit of it, Jeff, but are you playing it, Dan, or did you play the demo?
I had played the demo.
Yeah, nice.
I liked the way, so I had like a little bit of knowledge of Granblue just based off of the anime that released a few years ago. But
I'm familiar with the fighting games, but I guess I really didn't realize that there was an anime until pretty recently.
I played the demo or whatever they called it, trial. It was a different word than demo or trial for Granblue. I want to say Versus Rising, something like that, but from last year.
Whatever, yeah. I don't know.
And that was like really cool. And they have a story mode too that you can kind of plow through, but the fighting is not one-on-one. Like it's like sometimes they'll come in, more will come in from this side,
like assist characters.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's really
sounds
cool.
like an arc system works type of fighter. Yeah,
that's a cool game. I can understand why it was highly, like, I think it was pretty highly.
Yeah,
reviewed.
yeah. Well, and it came from like humble mobile, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like outside the fighting games, like the only other games they've done is like mobile games.
So I think it started there first.
Oh, it was a mobile game first, then became an anime?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. An anime, then the fighting games, and now this game. Which this game's been in development for like 6-7 years.
Yeah, It's it feels confident. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm like, well, they really got their 7 years worth out of this game. I'm not sure. I'm just not far enough into it yet. But like, these types of games like are prone to slow down. I'm not familiar with the team, so it's like I don't know what their pedigree is. So it's like it's pretty interesting to see them like pull a pretty confident game off. So. And it can only get bigger from here, right? Like it only the ideas just get bigger, So if this is the starting grounds, I think that they've got a really interesting IP on their hands, especially with how big their fighting games are already and their mobile games apparently.
Yeah, because this seems to be doing like I only had watched the first couple episodes because to be honest, it was kind of too slow for me, the anime. But this actually looks even better because the anime is like from a few years ago now, so this actually like looks better than the anime now at this point. Oh yeah,
nice.
And it's a game, so you're it's interactive and you're doing all the things that you said. The sky stuff is really cool. I did remember that there was like flying ships in it. Trying to see who the actual team is. Developers, Psy Games. Okay. Oh, did Platinum Games help them?
I think they assisted with the combat. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yep. When you were actually
Psy Games.
I love how they just come in sometimes and fix projects. Like that's kind of been their thing for a long time. Yeah.
So the only other thing I'm seeing that they're maybe associated with Dragalia Lost was that mobile game? Oh no, maybe DS game.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a DS game.
DS game, okay.
But yeah, it seems like they're this
is a real big idea. It looks really expensive. I put it up there with like Tales in terms of like the last Tales Arise, where it's just like, wow, this is like really like this looks like hand drawn stuff like on screen right now.
Yeah, the visuals are reminiscent of
the latest Dragon Quest game from a few years ago. Like that comes to mind when you're just the way that those colors pop and everything like that. Like it just This game is really putting my TV through the works. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you want to see all the colors of green and blue that's ever been conceived? Well, here you go. It's one of the most vividly colored games I played in a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it. I don't know where the story is going or what's going on with that right now, but like I really like the characters a lot, and that's kind of has that Tales syndrome where like Tales, I don't really ever know what the story is, but I'm like, boy, but I really like these characters, so that's enough for me usually. The story will come at some point, as long as I care about who I'm spending time with. So they got a cool little ragtag group of guys here and gals. So I'm enjoying it.
I like the variety. Like I didn't mess around because I barely played the demo, but I noticed that there was like when you go into like say buy equipment, it showed like all the list of characters that you could swap in and out. And I was like, oh wow, there's a lot going on here. And clearly they have their own differences. They got their own like element like sort of like thing that know whatever their element is based around that they do their abilities. So.
And there's a lot of different mechanics too, from like linked attacks, where you're like, pushing super specials together, and then you
That's
have like
cool.
specials that you can stack on top of each other.
Yep.
So there's like different levels of specials, because you have your personal specials, you have your link on specials, and then you have like your Omega specials or whatever.
The whole team special. Yeah.
So I like the layers of damage output that you have in this game. I love it when a new game comes out and it's just like, yeah, we nailed the combat, because like that's what we all are here, right? Like we like good feeling combat games. So.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Platinum, for coming in and saving this one, I guess.
Good work, Platinum.
Yeah, good job again.
And Platinum alone.
Yeah, only Platinum,
only
not
Platinum
the
worked on
actual
this.
developers of the game. No, good job, guys. Y'all did great.
The next new release, the big new release that is highlighted in our notes here, it's just a little tiny, indie remake, really small game, Persona 3 Reload. It's really short. It's like an hour long.
Oh, well, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, they remade it, but they
Wrong
still
Persona.
That's a song. Yeah,
significantly.
That's a song lyric. Yeah. I got it.
Oh, what was the lyric? I missed it.
I don't know.
What?
Oh, it's too late.
You'll never see it. You'll never see it coming.
You never see it coming. You don't remember that song?
Yeah, I totally remember that song. I'm not gonna Google it. I'm never gonna.
I've heard that song for like 200 hours, so of course I'll always remember it.
Oh, I see. I get it.
Yeah, it's the battle music. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At 5. Yeah. I know Jeff and I play it. Dan, are you gonna play it? I know you're paused. Not right now, but like, is this a game you're playing down the line? Or are you not a Persona
absolutely.
guy? Okay.
Persona 3
cool.
was actually the first one I ever played out of any of the Personas.
Same, yeah.
Which I
never
think
played.
is probably the case for a lot of people, to be honest. Because 1 and 2 were PlayStation 1, I think.
1 and 2 were PlayStation 1 games, and they played a lot like Shin Megami Tensei games.
Yeah.
Where it's like top-down isometric, turn-based, but like the overworld map was like, like you're moving like really.
That was the original name of this game outside of Japan when it first came out, was Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3.
Yeah.
So it was still part of that technically.
So my first Shin Megami Tensei game was 3 Nocturne, because Dante from Devil May Cry was in it. And like that's literally the only reason I played it. I was like, why is Dante in this game? And someone was like, oh, this is a really hardcore JRPG. One of my like super nerdy friends growing up,
Yeah.
And like it's all about demons, and Dante's here because he's the demon slayer. And I'm like, say no more, I'm in, man. And I remember just struggling through that game because it's so hard. But boy, it was one of my favorite JRPGs of all time. And I knew Persona was tangentially linked to it in some way, So whenever 3 came out, because I'd never played like 1 or 2, like you said, Dan, I was like, oh, I'll check this out or whatever. And I didn't know anything about like the school stuff or
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How much did you know about this?
It's a hell of a thing to go
when
into.
You originally played it.
I honestly don't know what even.
Did someone tell you to play this game, or did you?
I don't know if I just saw the cover art and I just thought it looked cool.
Remember those days where you would just go into a store and just see a covered art and go, "I'm going to buy that."
Yeah,
I miss that so
you look
much,
at the back and you're like, "Oh, this looks pretty cool."
I'm going to make a totally uneducated decision right now and buy a game.
That's
right.
right.
I love that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't remember literally like having done research or checking out trailers prior to it, but it was a good purchase because like this game has the darkest vibes out of between 3, 4, and 5. It has like the darkest themes and vibes to it for sure.
Yeah, I mean everything's tied around like teen suicide and apathy and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty dark stuff. Whenever I ended up finding this game, to my surprise, obviously all the school stuff is the stuff I like the most. Like, I like Tartar, like I like the dungeon stuff, and this goes for like all 3 of them, 3, 4, and 5. But like, I can't wait to get back to like the character stuff, when we're like building social links and like choosing when to go where and like studying for your exams and getting your knowledge up and getting your charm up and getting your strength up and stuff like that, or your courage, whatever it is. The 3, there's like 8 like in Persona 5 that keeps on getting bigger. But in this game, it just feels nice and
good. I'm
simple.
playing a simplified version of the game.
It is, yeah. I mean, like all the ideas of the series that people love this series for was born in this game right here. So like when people go, I like the Persona series, it's because they like Persona 3.
Yeah.
And I know multiple people, more people got on as the series went on or whatever. But like this was the thing that started like this type of formula for the series. So
for Persona,
and it's so good, man. Like the music's outstanding. The All the redubbed voiceovers are absolutely outstanding as well. The writing's great. The story is like very high stakes. Like it is. Like in 5, like it kind of gets to the world is ending type of stuff. In 4, it never gets there. It's a small town story with small town vibes and stuff like that. Kind of like Twin Peaksy, but 3 is like corporations are involved and evil is lurking around the corner and the world is ending, and it's like it's really big stake stuff, and like that you feel like the stress of it. You
can already feel the conspiracy starting out in the game, and I'm so ignorant to this story, but you can feel it in the dialogue where people are just like, you go up to them and talk about something, and they're like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it right now."
Yeah,
a lot of people are covering stuff up in this. Like even cops are like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, kid.
Right.
Talk about it later."
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I just love the big stakes in this one, and they never really got as big as this ever again. That the stories got a little more personal as it went along. 5 being a little bit kind of a mixture of 4 and 3, I would say. But man, I'm really enjoying this. I'm like 10 hours in already. I'm all the way to June.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm cruising through it pretty good.
I feel like I'm never getting out of April.
Yeah, I mean,
month.
it's getting your feet like adjusted to like what the game wants out of you. It's a process for sure. This is a really dense RPG, because it's not just an RPG. It's a dating sim. It's a high school sim. It's a social link engaged video game, and then on top of everything, it's a gear stat focused, hardcore dungeon crawling RPG. And if you're even playing on normal, which Jeff, you're probably not, and I'm not. I'm doing my first playthrough on easy. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like
I've beaten this game 3 times. I'm just trying to play.
Oh, wow.
You're just trying to beat it. Yeah, in a new beautiful looking cover, like sheen.
Exactly, and I'll play it again at some point, and I'll play it on normal then. But like now, I just have a lot. I see what the future looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
And this can't be a forever game, So
and there's even an easier mode than easy, and I'm like, oh come on, like I almost feel a little insulted that it's there.
Yeah,
So
it's like
what is that even
if you
called?
die, you just
Story,
revive immediately.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
It's like immediate revive after every battle or whatever.
But like even on normal, on easy, even like the game will push back. Like even on easy, but like normal, and this goes for all 3, 4, and 5. These games are hard, man. Like they're in their DNA, they're hard, and I like that. I like a challenging one. Like this game, you need to be using all your stat debuffs and buffs and stuff like that. Like whereas like sometimes in Final Fantasies, like you could play a whole Final Fantasy game and never use a stat debuff or buff ever. Like you don't have to. You can just be on the offensive the entire time. Some are harder than others. I think 10 comes to mind when it comes to like, oh, I have to actually think about like.
It's definitely like end game or like optional bosses. The optional bosses are like always more difficult.
Optional bosses, Omega weapon's always hard. That's just it has to be. That's just the way that the world is. But like, I do like that this game pushes back and it dares you to think about, how you're playing the game, and you get all the stylized stuff that like 5 kind of made famous for the series, the hyper stylization of like screens changing and moves going off and stuff like that.
So that's new to this remake.
Yeah. I mean, this is a PS2 game, man.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so
we didn't have the ability to like have all that style.
That's some of my favorite part of the game is like just the simple stylistic choices of like just afternoon and seeing the clock tick and it's like blue on black and like God, it looks so good.
Or just when they activate their persona, it goes to that like wide shot and like you see them like it's just hyper. You just couldn't get that on a PS2 game. And really, where most people played this was the PSP. Like where it was even a more stripped down version of the game.
Yeah.
And that's the only other version of the game that's actually available to this day is the PlayStation portable version. So so like it's nice to be able to walk around in 3D again. The PlayStation portable version like took away all like the 3D stuff. You just kind of chose from a list of where you're gonna go. So it's just like the sense of space is all there. Even like when you're choosing where to go, like on the town map, if you don't press X to like blast through that, you'll watch your little guy like catch a train and like walk over the bridge and like get over there like from the world map, and it looks so cool. I just love all of that stuff.
That was really cool. I love watching this stuff going, oh, that's cool, not knowing it's a new element to the game.
I mean, again, remember this game is like 20. It's a PS2 game.
It learned a lot.
I thought it was more recent.
This isn't like Last of Us. This isn't a remake of a game that came out 2 years ago. This is an old as shit video game. Like. from a yesteryear bygone era of graphics, so
well, comparatively, Persona 4 doesn't really need that facelift, does it? Like, I mean
4 was still a PS2 game,
Yeah.
so it looks a little cleaner, but like it's gonna get a remake, absolutely. 4 is
I think it deserves one too. Yeah,
4 is like still my favorite in the whole series. So
nice, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I like 3 a lot, and I like 5 a lot. Don't get me wrong, but like 4 is like, oh man, like the small town, like every single person that you like come across in that game because there's only like 100 people living in that city or whatever, like maybe 1,000. Yeah. It's very small. You're not in the middle of a metropolis, so like everyone's got like gossip about each other and stuff like that. And you just get Twin Peaks vibes. So no shit, that's my favorite of
course,
three,
yeah.
So
sure.
I thought I'm sorry, we were gonna say something.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just curious because the thing with like 3 and 4 compared to 5 is that people just kind of thinking the dungeons are blah because it's just a lot of samey stuff. So did they tweak that at all?
So, in this game, it's like 5, you have the coolness of like going to different places and like they're transmorphed by like whatever. Yeah, like but this is just a tower. A tower sprouts up from the high school at night during this invisible hour that only a few people can witness or whatever. And you're just trying to get to the top, and it's very anime. You know what I mean? There's like very like we're all just gonna get to the top of this never-ending labyrinth that goes all the way up or whatever. It's very it's very familiar, but like the layouts is still kind of similar, but like I think they stylized everything a lot more. So like you'll get to this thing called like a barrier. So like the first part of the tower is kind of like school themed. And then like you'll break into what they call like a barrier or whatever, which is like the next part of like the tower. And like it's a little more spooked. There's like faces all over the walls, and like it's a little more like Geigery, kind of looking and stuff like that. And I know that and it keeps on changing, but the layouts are kind of similar. There's not any kind of like puzzly stuff that you kind of did in 5. You're just walking through hallways. And I gotta be honest, I love it. I don't care.
I kind of want.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I don't need like bullshit puzzles. Like 5's got a lot of like bullshit puzzles like that, like people love, but like I'm just kind of like I just can't wait to get done with this so we can get back to the hallway walking and fighting, because that's what I'm here for. I want to fight whenever we're in dungeons, so like I like the linearity of that, and there's one way to go, it's up, so like you keep on walking on the floor until you find an up thing, and then maybe turn back around and make sure you uncover the entire map so you don't miss any like gear or chest or extra fights and stuff like that. And even on easy, this game's punishing with SP, man. This game does not want you to have a lot of SP. Like it doesn't drop a lot of SP replenishing items. Everything you need to do to activate, kind of like combos and stuff like that relies on SP. You don't have a lot of it at the beginning of the game. I mean, this is a problem with all these games. It's not a problem. It's a function in all these games.
Yeah.
So like you choosing when and when not to use it to try and get as far as up you can in the labyrinth, like the strategy in that, I just love like the engagement of that. Even again on whatever mode that you're on, like you have whatever SP that you have, so, and you'll get stomped, if you're not like utilizing those all-out combos and stuff like that. So people will stomp you. These games are tough, man. And I just love it, loving everything about it. This is like the only game on earth that could have taken me away from Infinite Wealth. Like it's literally like. I couldn't even think of another series that would have the ability to be like, I'm coming in to interrupt your gameplay of Yakuza, but Persona's like, it's there, man. It's there, and it's the Kool-Aid manning into my life right now.
Oh,
Put a gun to your head, and the Persona came out, Kyle.
Yeah.
It put a gun here. But yeah, I and I see a lot of discourse about like when it comes to like the turn-based versus action, blah blah blah. People like kind of like acknowledging Persona, sort of like almost like carrying that torch now, because it's like a lot of these series that like Final Fantasy has gone a little more action, which I mean I'm completely fine with.
Same.
Just whatever they want to do. Persona has stayed pretty consistent with that, and so is Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is very traditional as well. So
yeah, they're really kind of the last bastion of high-profile, high-budget video games that are doing like a turn-based thing,
Yeah,
which is cool, and no one's really complaining about it here. I've never seen. Maybe there's a Reddit thread somewhere, but I've never been like, I wish Persona was action-based, like no one's asking for that, so. Keep it the way that it is. I like it. Again, they figure out really cool ways to like make it seem like if I have to watch this fight and I have to go through menus, at least it could all look cool while I do it, and it really does. So
Yes, yeah.
Sona's pretty cool.
Yeah, they definitely
it's a
took
cool
the
game,
style of
man.
5
It's
and put it
cool
down
is
to
exactly
3.
what it is.
Took that
And
style of 5 and they gave it that 3 face paint, that blue face paint. Basically, it looks super.
Yeah,
slick.
It's very blue. This game's very blue.
Yeah,
I do like it. I do like
Persona 5 is very red. You know.
Yeah.
And Persona
it's 4 like yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow, exactly.
I love that. I'll keep that going, man. Keep going into 6.
Yeah, really, really hardcore, coloring themes in this. And I mean, again, the important thing about this game is characters, right? 5 has all these like super memorable characters. 4 has amazingly memorable characters. This game's awesome, man. Like, this game's got really memorable characters. You're gonna get like and you'll see in the trailers. These aren't spoilers, but like you're gonna get a talking dog. I don't think he talks actually,
sweet.
But like, you'll get a cool dog that's gonna help you out. That can activate personas. You'll get a cool robot later. That can.
A dog shoots itself in the head to get. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just imagining.
I forget how they get the evoker out for him.
But they always have the little with Morgana in 5. There's always like that little.
There's always a creature. Yeah. So you have Morgana in 5, and you have Teddy in 4, which is a dude like in a costume pretty much, but like it really kind of creepy and disturbing a little bit. He's so pervy. And that's what I also like about this game is that like. There are a lot of like shitty dudes in this that like a lot of remakes might just erase. Like, we're not gonna give this we're not gonna let this guy be a creep in this game this time around.
Sure.
Nah, man, all the guys who used to be creepy are still creepy because it's part of their story, you know. So it's like they did a good job of just like sticking to their guns. With,
the first palace you do in 5 is basic. I mean, that guy's a deviant, which then causes that girl to self-harm. So try to
these games really do open up on some pretty complicated topics. In 4, like somebody's brutally murdered and stuff like that, and it's just these games are pretty unrelenting. Which is funny for a game like that looks the way that these games look, where you're like, oh yeah, you're really gonna be thinking about some dark stuff. You're like, what?
And high school kids,
but it's so pretty and cute. What are you talking about? There's no way.
Absolutely adoring this game. Oh, and there's a rewind feature. So if like you do something wrong, you can just like rewind a day. I'm an old school gamer, so I have like a lot of like save files. Like I'm starting a new week, I'm gonna save a new save file, so I have to restart the week. So like I kind of already do that on my own, but now I can like untrain myself to do that because this game takes care of all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Like if you like show up to do a social link and you forgot to have a corresponding tarot card for that social link, you don't get the maximum amount of points to like get that social link activated in a bigger way. So like you can rewind back to before you did it, go get that persona and like now interact with that and get extra points and stuff like that. So it's just nice to be able to like, I just made a tiny little boo-boo, and instead of like going back 4 hours in a gameplay, which I've had to do multiple times with these games, now you can just go back 15 minutes or whatever. So pretty cool. Yeah, good stuff, man. This is how you do a remake.
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally. I'm not going to peel away from this game. I was kind of hoping like when all 3 of these games came out, and by the 3, I don't mean Suicide Squad. I mean like Infinite Wealth, Granblue, and Persona 3 that I'd be able to play all 3 and then just stick to whatever one's hooked me. And I feel like Persona 3's got the pacing and I don't know, especially the style that's like going to hook me. Yeah. And the pacing is not just limited to.
Look at him.
Yeah.
And the pacing's not just limited to like story. I mean like the action. Like I feel like it's just a little faster paced than Like a Dragon, even though Like a Dragon still has such fun combat. It's absurdly fun. But I'm the type of guy that's like,
it's different.
I want to beat a game.
Your turns take longer.
So like,
like
yeah,
they
do.
They do. I mean, that's just a fact. Yeah.
Especially when there's like 18 guys or whatever that want to jump you, and you're like, oh god, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, right. All right, I'll line up so I can throw you all into each other.
Exactly. Please line up, please.
Please line up.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's really, God, I just love this. Games with style, dude, and that concept is just hella cool.
Really
yeah.
If we had a games with style award at the end of the year, this game, there wouldn't be many that would beat it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really cool, man. So we can move on to other new releases that happened this week, and they're not. These are like the indie ones or the ones that I don't know. Some people might be talking about. Who knows? But Eastward DLC finally came out. Octopia.
Dude, totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot it existed too. I actually thought it already came out. I thought for some reason I thought when they announced it, it was like it's out. Like for some reason I thought it was that situation, but it's not. It just came out this week. Tim put up a Let's Play video of Corsair's Legacy, which came out this week. I assume what he played was the demo, and he put it up on our YouTube channel. And he said it wasn't very good. So that's it's his fault for not being here to not expand on that.
I watched a few minutes of gameplay on a different video because I saw he had that like ready to go. And I was like, oh, what's this about? So I like looked up I would search for it on YouTube. And I was like, wow, this looks a little rough. Unfortunately, because I don't know if you guys have ever played the like Sid Meier's Pirates or anything like that.
No.
I'm familiar with them, yeah.
Okay. I remember back in the day actually super liking one of those. So I was kind of hoping it'd be something like that, but it just doesn't it doesn't look like it's of that quality. So
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Bummer. There's another game that Tim mentioned in our chat. It's called Tales of Spark, and it's actually like a Diablo type of ARPG. In a, I think it's set in China or something like that.
China.
China.
Oh yeah, that's
I was
right.
going for a Street Fighter.
Did that come out?
Yeah, it came out on the 4th, or no?
Is that only on Steam?
Hold on, I'm wrong. Yeah, hack and slash ARPG. So yeah, I'm only seeing it on Steam. Oh, it comes out tomorrow, technically. That's interesting. Who's going to release a game on the freaking Saturday? That's weird.
That's
What's
or
the game
Sunday
called again?
Tales of Spark.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I
The
remember
menus look very dense.
It looks very cool to me. So
it does look. It's like a Diablo type of
Diablo.
Yeah, a Diablo. With a little more, there's definitely a focus on hack and slash stuff too. So it's not so much. To me, I mean, the menus look very similar to Diablo, but
right.
But yeah, if it's an
not,
action RPG, it's Diablo. That's the genre. Yeah.
But it may not be the same exact button presses, I guess, if you want to call it that. I don't know what kind of controller support it's going to have, if any.
Yeah, these games that are in early access usually make their way to Steam.
Yeah, it is early access.
Once like controller support gets added, so
we'll see how it turns out, because that is
I have
future
less
release
and less problems with games running on Steam Deck as the months go on. So.
Yeah. I actually, let me pull it back up. I think they already had a thing about the Steam Deck.
Like Enshrouded has been like crushing people's computers, like low-end computers, and like I've never even had it crash on Steam Deck. Like it's so stable on there.
That's incredible.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's nothing. It just says Steam is still learning about the game, so there's nothing about the deck yet. Especially because it's early access, like we were saying. But the last game I wanted to mention is Project Downfall. It looks more like a John Wick type of first-person shooter. If you look at the cover art, the main character, looks like John Wick.
Sure.
But yeah, the art style is super rad. It's been out on Steam for a couple years now. It's just now coming out to consoles, but it's like a first-person. Type of shooter.
I mean, this is John Wick, right? Like this is literally.
He's like kicking, objects into enemies and.
This game's on sale for $10 right now on Steam. So
yeah, there's also a demo on Steam as well. But like apparently it's a trip because it's non-linear day-to-day progression. There's a sanity system. There's 12 endings. So the downfall part is taken very seriously. Apparently, that's okay. I wanted to at least highlight that. And there's combos and stuff. I'm looking at the gameplay now, and I can see the combo counter going. Nut shot gives you extra points. That's funny. Yeah, it looks really funny, and destructible environments. It looks really interesting.
So it's like John Wick with Max Payne elements.
Something like that.
Popping the drugs.
I don't know about if there's slow-mo. I guess some of the shots I saw did have some slow-mo in it. But I wanted to mention that one because I think it just came out slow-mo on Diablo. Okay. That's Obama talking about slow-mo and Diablo.
I can't do it, so I say it so he does it.
Let me double check to make sure that it actually came out, because sometimes you know how they stealthily delay it. Yeah, it just came out on Switch and Xbox.
Switch it up.
I think that's it. Sorry, Sony, your SSD wasn't good enough. Which is impossible. I know it's impossible.
We don't have time for that.
We don't have time. So as far as new movies and shows are concerned, we have one movie that's relevant to gaming, and that's the one that Naughty Dog put up for freezies on YouTube. It's called Grounded 2, Making of Last of Us Part 2.
Oh wait, did any of us play the Silent Hill game that came out?
Oh, that's right.
No.
I was gonna try and get to it, but I just
We'll get to the I forgot that we got to cover a state of play in this. Oh my god, I'm gonna talk so much. But
yeah,
Grounded,
I'm glad it landed on
Grounded
you
2,
for sure.
Yeah, it's just luck of the draw or bad luck of the draw. I don't know. But Grounded 2, Making Last of Us Part 2. I watched this like immediately the day it came out. It was super good, man, and it made me like. Because as a gamer, I just play these games and I go, wow, that's really good. But sometimes I do need a developer to explain to me what makes it really good.
Yeah. It's like behind that, like it's like watching like someone break down a movie scene, how it's done. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I needed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of like the Oppenheimer, the whole thing surrounding the atomic bomb. Like,
I actually have
how
a
did
good
they do
authority,
that?
Jeff, that that we all hate Neil Druckmann and that he sucks and that you suck for watching.
Right.
This, so
I'm
on a good
terrible. Okay,
authority,
yeah.
That's all.
They directly confront some things, especially in the last like 20 minutes about the leaks that happened in the game, which is what resulted in like, you know, those toxic places like some of Twitter and 4chan, where they started like railing against the game and the most and issuing death threats. And then they talk about in the last 5 minutes, they talk about crunch and how they're adamant. Like they had so many faces of the company come forward for interviews and say, we are adamantly against crunch now and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, everybody that's kind of complaining, myself included, of kind of getting radio silence for them for 3 years or however long it's been, 4 years now since Last of Us Part 2, getting no new games, no news on new games except for cancellations. You know, what do you want? Do you want them to crunch and then give us new games? Is that what you want?
Right.
So this is kind of what, you know, this is kind of what we have to face as consumers. You know, this is what ethical developing looks like.
And I'm sorry, do we not have enough games to be playing?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
We're not busy enough.
You know?
Yeah.
I gotta be. And you know what? If making a couple of remakes kept everybody on staff, I'm kind of here for that too. You know.
Totally. Even if they
we're in an era where
I think they outsourced Part 1 to PC.
We had 6,000 layoffs in the industry by January 25th. 6,000.
Yeah,
that's a lot of. That's a lot
like you said, it's 25 days into the year. That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I know everyone's got pretty charged opinions about like, you know, remakes and like, you know, it is what it is, you know, but like if it's keeping people's jobs, and I'm gonna be pro it.
They even like restructure. They talked about how they restructured the company to create I don't know, to kind of like align people's schedules more so they're not crunching as much. Like instead of guy, one of the guys who was like a lead game designer, he's now what's called like in a principal role where he's kind of a leader.
Cool.
Even if he's more like a manager, so he's kind of managing their schedules and how they can do certain tasks in a certain amount of time. And he's even doing that to people that know more than him about game design. But it's just the fact that he's better at managing than he is at, like, in his opinion and other people's opinion. Like, you know, like they created these roles to make sure that, you know, they can manage the crunch, quote unquote, better. And a lot of people that were chiming in about it that worked at the company, at least in the movie. So granted, this is them making it themselves. We have to remember that. But a lot of them were coming forward, were saying, oh, I didn't even realize I was crunching. I just wanted to get something done. Like I just needed to get a thing done.
I guarantee you that's how most of the industry feels, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we really peeled it back. I know there's plenty of them that are predatory, but
right, for sure. There's some that are yelling and they're managers and they're like just mean and cruel about it.
I don't care if you're going through a divorce because you're here 80 hours a week. You're going to stay here. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that genuinely. I'm talking about people getting lost in their craft and they're going, "Oh my god, I didn't realize I pulled an 80-hour work week this week, and boy, we got a lot done though."
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
especially when you see the excellence that resulted in, like, you know, in Last of Us Part 2, it's kind of like, I saw why they felt like they had to do that, especially when you remember they delayed it indefinitely.
Yeah.
At a certain point, because it's supposed to come out in like a February date.
That's right. Yeah.
20. But then COVID happened, and they had to figure out how do we do this at home, and then of course working at home created more opportunities for crunching. Which again, like I said, a lot of people were kind of like, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, because this thing needed to get done, and I couldn't get it done unless I worked, 18-hour days or whatever the hell, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I'm kind of that way with my job too. I can be, at least. I've set up a little more barriers nowadays as a functioning adult, but before, I had some problems stepping away, so I get it.
Yeah.
I
But I think the biggest news from the documentary is Neil Druckmann at the end said, at first when the game finished, he was like, we didn't have a story for a third one, so they never thought about. And stay tuned. They never thought about a to be continued tag because they didn't have any ideas for it yet.
Sure.
But he did say that they do have a concept for it, so they're in the middle of writing it.
It also sounds like this will be the last one too, at least of this story arc. He was.
They even said that when they were showing the reveal of the game, they were like, "We deliberately called it Part 2 because it's supposed to be a chapter in one story. Like it's so Part 3 is clearly going to be an end."
Well, that's why they went back when they remastered the first game. They added Part 1 on
Part
it.
1,
right?
yeah.
They didn't want to call it Last of Us subtitle whatever. Last of Us Ellie means business, whatever you wanted to call it.
Yeah,
sure.
Last of Us Golf Club Tragedy. Why is it called that? Don't worry about it. We'll explain it later.
Golf Club Go Getter.
Yeah.
Last of Us 4. Like the golf tournament.
Yeah.
The number.
Get it, guys? Get it? We're having fun here.
Tears and sadness.
But he did say they were in the middle of writing it, and they shot that. When he said that, they were shooting in like last year sometime. So that leads me to believe they have been mostly developing a new IP, like it's been rumored, which is coming out first before Part 3.
Sure.
And that sounds exciting as hell, man. I'm really dying to see something.
It's been a while. So.
Yeah.
I'm definitely dying to see something from a new IP.
When they come out with a new IP, it turns into a franchise. So like it's a big deal, for Naughty Dog to be like, hey, we have a new idea, because like that means, well, we're gonna have 15.
We have a new
years,
thing that's exactly. It's gonna be 15, 20 years of this game for
We're gonna be old. We'll be playing the third game in whatever the series is, and we'll all be old as shit.
Yeah, I'll be 70. My arthritis and shit. Like
they do have more than one team there, so they do. They're pretty decent size developer.
Yeah,
definitely. They're one of the bigger ones. Yeah, it's a great documentary.
I think that'd be funny.
They interviewing all the people all the actors in it, and like seeing mocap for the first time of the Joel's most important scene in the second game, where he totally lives and does a happy dance. That was like soul crushing to watch. Even the actors were like so invested that they were crying. It was wild. Even though they're wearing, just imagine, it's like one of the most emotional moments you're in, and you're wearing like a condom suit, and
you have to like take it so seriously while someone in front of you looks like the dumbest person in the entire world in front of you.
You look like one of the villains from Power Rangers, and you're like, I'm so sad.
Yeah, right. Let me teach you how to play guitar, Ellie.
And it's like a white fakey guitar, and there's no strings. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
We're gonna be bringing up guitars later too. Speaking of.
Oh, will
we? Why, Dan? I don't know why.
Oh, you'll see.
I know there's.
It's gonna be electric though.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
That was the movie. Did anybody else watch this? Because it's on YouTube, and it's relatively
I just saw the clip of Laura Bailey basically being like, I like, my baby was like being threatened, and I had to like kind of distance myself from it. It's like, fucking Christ, dude. Like, Jesus,
unbelievable.
Like,
no accountability.
Not that there's any logic in threatening people making games, anyways. But like, why the actor who's portraying a fictional character?
It's the same for the person that was
directed at anyone else,
It was the same exact thing for the person that was the model, the face model for Abby.
Oh, sure.
Because they based her on a real person. Probably in retrospect,
Sure.
they're probably gonna Mary Jane that and change her face in Part 3 if she's in it. But that she's not even an actor. She literally is a game developer for, I don't know if she works at Naughty Dog still or did, but she's a game developer. And they were like, "Hey, get your face in here. We're gonna capture it for this character we're working on." And so like she's just the most harmless entity involved, and even she was getting threats and like insults and stuff like that. It's just the internet is a mistake. Why that includes podcasting,
except for cat videos. But,
cat videos are pretty cool.
Yeah, cat videos are pretty dope. Yeah. I think that's when Al Gore invented the internet. Because we all know that's
by himself.
He
coded it all by
himself. He said people
are
going to post cat videos, and it's got to be
Is that what Al Gore sounds like?
It's got to be adorable.
That
anyway,
sounds like Forrest Gump. That's
yeah, he does look. He does have the Forrest Gump quality to him. I wonder
Al
if Tom
Gump.
Hanks based it on
Al Gump.
Al Gump.
Gump.
But yeah, I do recommend watching this. I actually watched it on my TV, where I don't have an ad blocker on YouTube, and on that, no ads played the whole time I watched the movie. I found that very interesting. I was like, so channels can tell YouTube to stop playing ads? I didn't know that.
They should all do that, because sometimes I'll catch an ad 13 times in the span of like a 30-minute video. So
so dumb, dude.
And there's like no rhyme or reason for why that happens to some and not others. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I'm so glad that YouTube's probably going to track me like by IP now that I say it, but I'm so glad that the ad blockers, the people that develop those and design those, discovered what YouTube was doing to, because YouTube was adamant, like pushing, we're going to block the ad blockers and we're going to make people see ads. And then they put like a little thing on their videos that says, if you want to see another video, you got to remove your ad blocker. And the ad blockers were like, no, we're gonna right away around that, and they did. It works. It works just like before. Now I still see videos on YouTube through a browser on a computer with no ads. Now it's crazy.
Good.
They figured it out.
Good.
Freaking wizards, man. That's the thing when people like, or even you can say policy enactments, like when that involve the internet. If there were like a new law in place saying you can't do this, people are just gonna find a way to move the goalpost or find the loophole. Like it's crappy.
The same thing happened with piracy. At some point people were just like, all right, fuck it, you guys win.
All right, how about this VPN? Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
the second the VPN was made, they're just like, whatever, man.
Whatever, man.
We lost this one,
Good luck passing any law saying you can't use VPN ever, because there are so many people that work in security that would be like,
yep,
that's just not that's not a good idea at all for anybody. But anyway, it's really good. Go watch it.
Yeah, my last thoughts on all the Last of Us stuff is that the ending of 2 was super soul crushing, and Ellie is just gonna be a total peach to be around in the third game. I'm sure.
Oh my god,
she's just gonna be so like.
She's gonna be.
I'm interested to see how much more miserable they can make the watcher or player by controlling this totally miserable human being. Like
she's gonna be. My theory is
Ellie.
she's gonna be like our age, when that game comes out.
Yeah,
because I think the kid's gonna be older. The kid's gonna be new Ellie.
Make her the same age as Joel.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
I might be too old.
Yeah, because the kid would be really old too. But
yeah.
I like the idea.
But I think
of aging
the
her
point
up in
would
a
be
big way,
making
though.
the kid the same age Ellie was in the first game. I think they're going to try to do that parallel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Who knows what's
it'll be
going to
more
happen
of
to Dina? I'm sure it's
it'll
going to
more
be
of a
sunshine.
motherhood story, than a fatherhood story. So
right.
Yeah, I can see that happening. And like that's the only thing that could bring her back from whatever place she's in by the time 2 wraps up. Because like again, like she's such a miserable human being. And I'm not, that's not a criticism. She just is, like
she is. Yeah, she did it to herself
I
too.
just
that
know
was,
that
like,
it's
the
not
whole
going to be.
point.
It's going to be a drag, to play her for 3, unless you have something that kind of brings her back from the dark, which again I think would be like motherhood or something. So
I forgot another amazing part of the documentary was when one of the co-lead writers of the game, who was a woman, bashed the press. I don't know if it was a Kotaku article, but it sounds like something they would do, where the article was like, does Last of Us hate women and stuff like that? And
she's like, I wrote that.
Yeah. And the article said, did Naughty Dog even have women on the staff writing this game? And she's like, you could have Googled it. She was so mad in the movie.
That's so
You
funny.
could have Googled
She
it.
literally says,
I love it. I like that they address some of that stuff. I do. I like it. It humanizes an experience that just seems like, I don't know. Again, the internet's all about dogpiling, so it's like there's blood in the water.
The other side of it, of like, well, if you say we can't perpetuate violence against women and women aren't allowed to fight back in games, then you're basically saying, like, the flip side of that is that we never have a woman protagonist who ever has any violence perpetuated on them ever, and that's even worse. Like, is to not have any.
But then you complain about not enough women in games, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then it would be, it's a vicious cycle of. But that person apparently, somebody in Reddit already did some digging. Thankfully, I didn't have to do it.
A little digging,
a little digging, and they found that the person that wrote that article doesn't work in games media anymore. So they probably work in like try hard media. Who the hell knows what they do?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But they're not games media anymore. But yeah, her whole comeback to that was just she was ready to go, man. She had her arguments ready.
Good.
Like you know, it was just an amazing
They
part.
probably have a lot of that going on over there because, like, the thing is, 2 sold super well, but like it's super divisive.
It is
Such a big way. To this day, I still have to like hear, man. Like Bruce and Lawrence from like Inside Games, like they both hate Last of Us 2. And
yeah,
like,
Lawrence
you know, and
was
I
on,
usually like
Lawrence
you know,
on Twitter when I had a Twitter back then. That game won Game of the Year, and he was on a tear about it and ranted about it.
And
I was like, I don't need to follow Lawrence anymore. I'm done with this.
I forget how like sensible people who I usually respect the opinion of, because Lawrence is like really like smart about the industry, and like his takes are usually pretty grounded. Hot takes sometimes, but like I can see what like yarn he's pulling on, you know, to get to his points.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, just even sensible people who I usually respect, like when this game gets brought up, I have friends who I'm like best friends with. Whenever this game gets brought up, like a visceral reaction happens to them. And like, I just can't, I can't talk to you about this. Okay, cool. I'll never bring this up to you in front of you again because you're acting like an insane person right now. And that's how people in the media act with whenever anything Last of Us 2 get brought up. People are just like, boy, I'll tell you what about that game. I'm like, oh, here we go. I have to hear.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
So yes, it's very divisive.
Just wait till season 2, then it's a whole new TV audience of people that's going to be mad again. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be so annoying and fun at the same time. I'll be like, ooh, I lived this. Ooh. It's Groundhog Day again. So that was something that Troy Baker mentioned too, was like, because at first, you know, Neil presented the story to him, and in the first game, Troy was like, shouldn't Joel just die? Shouldn't he die at the end of that game? So when Neil presented the story for part 2 to him, and he was like, so Joel dies, and then here's what happens from here, blah, blah, blah. Troy wasn't ready. He was like, suddenly like, he was like, I need a minute. Like, can you pause?
Yeah. I'm steamrolling through this.
Yeah. And then Troy mentions how people come up to him, obviously, and bitch about part 2 and like how Joel shouldn't have died. And he goes, okay, I understand. Tell me your idea of a better story. And he's like, to date, I still haven't heard a good one. And I'm like, me neither. I still have yet to hear somebody with a better story. I haven't even heard
anybody try. They're just like, he lives and like rides on a horse and like is the hero. You know, I don't know. Like,
he's Luke Skywalker, the version of Luke Skywalker that we wanted in last. Not we, but like that people that bitch about Last Jedi wanted. Like, he's just a badass the whole way through and kills everybody.
He can like kill clickers with his mind now. I don't know. I guess one more thing about the documentary, I like that it's giving a voice to a somewhat voiceless like community, where like this community of developers and writers and creators just got dogpiled on for like the last 2 or 3 years, and like never got to like really say their piece. And like this is a cool platform for them to be like, and you guys frustrated us, and here's some insight.
There's even parallels to the journey that Ellie goes on to the end of the game, and what Neil experienced with the leaks. And he was like, because he was fuming, he was so livid when the footage leaked and the story leaks happened months before the game came out. And then he, you know, probably not in the moment, but he does mention like, then I had, you know, the game ends with Ellie kind of learning to let it go.
Way too late, but
way too late. To the point where even the gamer's like, I don't want to do this fight, dude.
I do. I remember playing that part and just going like, just stop.
Just stop.
Just stop it.
Please stop.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's not a moment of clarity. Sometimes it's just like you deciding not to do something. That's
Revenge is blind.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that movie was really, really awesome to watch. Stirred a lot of thoughts in me. It's like 2 hours exactly. Okay. Yeah, and it's a lot of good stuff, dude. You're not gonna be like, oh God, we're just now at accessibility. Oh, move it along. You're not gonna be like that. But yeah, the next new thing that I had here, I didn't have any other new movies on here. There's a new movie that Matthew Vaughn did called Argyle that's not reviewing well. It looked as bad as the trailers made it look.
Yeah, the trailers looked awful, and it's really funny that he's like was really going after like other franchises this week, and then like
Marvel
got just
and like
totally
DC,
shit on with this movie.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, yeah, that's a really bad look, dude, to give a lot of criticism and then like put out a dog shit movie, you know?
Yeah. And his goal too was to connect. I think he wants to connect this movie to Kingsman somehow and make like a big ultra. He'd make his own version of like a MCU with spies. But this movie is flopping so hard. There's no way it's gonna happen. Like there's just no way.
Did you see the trailer though? It looked awful.
Yeah, I know.
It
The
just
cat
looks
What is
alone
actually
is,
the
like,
movie even about?
awful.
like this book writer lady, Bryce Dallas Howard, like gets like swooped up in a like spy adventure, but she's kind of like a cat mom, you know. So it's like a fish out of water story about
It's
like
basically
spies and
it's
stuff.
like the Ruby Sparks or Stranger Than Fiction story where she's a novelist but writing about a spy adventures, but the spy adventures are becoming like reality.
Yeah.
And so like that's
So
how
I can see the spy bit being connected to Kingsman,
Yeah.
but like, you know, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, so you're going to
Yeah.
introduce to the Kingsman universe that some girl has special powers to create reality via writing. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yes.
I mean,
Oh,
those
man.
movies are pretty
Movie
goofy,
looks
but
like a
that's
mess,
pretty
though, but-
goofy.
That's a step too goofy, yeah.
Yeah, this is goofy movie
Yup,
too,
yup.
you know.
I'd rather watch
Ugh.
Goofy movie over and over again, and that movie's
Yeah.
actually good. So whatever.
Yeah,
It's true.
there you go. We gave a 3-minute spot to something none of us saw, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Here's something that I watched all the way through, and I couldn't. I'm very surprised that I did binge it because it just came out yesterday. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the new TV show from Donald Glover. He co-created it, co-wrote it, like a lot of with his brother, I think. So it's like a lot of the Atlanta people behind the scenes were involved with the show.
I didn't know that his brother helped too, so this is actually
Yeah.
going to be a really good representation of what maybe the Lando movie will feel like. 'cause
That's
they're
right. I
writing the script
forgot
together.
that they were
Yeah.
commissioned for that. That's right.
Yeah. So, okay, well that gives me a little
Imagine
more...
an Atlanta-ish Lando movie. That'd be so freaking fun, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
like too heady for its own
yeah,
good, you know?
exactly. Oh man. But yeah, this one is definitely that flavor of comedy where it's somebody says something ridiculous, and as Donald Glover's reacting, something else happens behind him or whatever, and he's like, his co-star is Maya Erskine. I don't know if I'm saying her Erskine. I don't know how to say her last name, but she voiced Mizu on Blue Eye Samurai. She doesn't
Great
sound
performance.
anything like that
Yeah.
character at all when she talks for real. But yeah, so she and Donald Glover, like when they start the show, they're supposed to have negative chemistry because they're literally just matched together as spies. And they're supposed to present as a married couple.
So they know
while-
each
while they
other
do
are
missions.
spies in this movie?
Yeah. So
because like in the
that's
movies about
that's why
like
it's
them not knowing that there's
Exactly.
each other. Okay,
which
yeah,
is
all right.
the dumbest part of that movie to me is like you're
I
married
mean,
and you
yeah.
have a safe that
I
none
guess
of you know
I have
about.
hot takes
Like,
about that movie, but it's not
Yeah.
good, so.
so I kind of like that they turned it on its head a little bit and made it more of like this is a spy program. There's multiple Mr. and Mrs. Smiths out there that are matched together.
Okay. All right.
And they don't know each other starting out, but then they get married, and some of them get intimate together, and some don't. Whatever the case may be.
Uh-huh.
But like the opening scene starts with Alexander Skarsgård and Isa, whatever how you say her name, Gonzalez, two very very attractive people together as Mr. and Mrs. Smith on the run, and I'm like, oh, these are like the actors that people online would have preferred casting as Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, because they are like models.
Right.
But yeah, that's a funny scene too. Yeah, there's some really really funny stuff in it, especially because I mean they deliberately cast two comedic actors in the role, and sure they do have some really cool action scenes in the show. But it definitely thrives on the interplay between the two of them and how they.
Would you say it's more funny than?
Yeah. It's definitely
drama. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when it gets like heavy and they start like they do because they do have marital woes. Like eventually they do, that's what I mean. Otherwise, how do you do an 8-episode show? But like eventually they do like start to care for each other, and then they have consistent arguments about crap. So like they know how to like treat. It felt like an authentic relationship. That's how it felt.
Cool.
Yeah. So that part is what really sold me on it. The spy stuff is really fun too, especially because it feels like they're getting like text messages from an anonymous source, Mr. Robot style. And it's basically just telling them, "Hey, go do this thing, and we'll give you money." And they're like, "Okay." And the first mission's so funny. Because they're so out of their depth, they don't know that, and they're covering their tracks really quickly and like how to think on their toes and like, God damn, just watch the first episode alone and you'll just be like, I get it. Like this show's really fun. And And then there's a episode where they go on like a ski resort together, and Paul Dano's in this show somehow. Like every episode's like a different mission, and then near the end of the show, it becomes its own type of longer story that it's telling. But like, yeah, one mission's on like a ski resort, then there's one that's like somewhere in Italy or whatever. So they got to film in beautiful locations. Basically, it's like a vacation for these guys.
Very nice.
But yeah, it's really fun, dude. And Ron Perlman's in it. Paul Dano. Who else shows up? The guy Walter Mara. He played Pablo Escobar in the Narcos show. I'm trying to remember who played his. Parker Posey plays his wife.
Parker Posey.
Yeah, there's a lot of other very familiar looking people in this show that show up every episode.
Cool.
I'm just glad that Paul Dano got it. I was like, how did they get Paul Dano in this? That's great. I love that guy.
Yeah, he says no to every script.
Yeah, he does.
He says no.
Oh man, so good. I really, really loved it. Just finished it like a few hours ago. And the finale was excellent. It ends in a way that you would expect a Donald Glover created show to end, where you're kind of like, what the hell was that? It's that's what I loved about it, honestly. It's
cool.
It's great.
Nice.
So that's all the new stuff. We'll circle back to headlines because I want to get into Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, because I assume Kyle's played way more of that game.
No, I stopped.
Okay. That's why I thought you hated it. I knew it. You hated it. You're a pretender.
It's the worst.
But yeah, because when we last talked about it, it had been out for like 24 hours. So
yeah. So I'm like 45 hours into that game.
Yeah. Chump change. No big deal.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm anywhere. Like I'm 45 hours in, and I just got like my next like cast member. You know what I mean? Like,
oh wow.
So I had 4 people. I had a full team. You know, and like then like I had some more people like show up, and I'm like, how much more of this game is left? Like, I'm in chapter 7, so I think I'm like just at halfway through. I think there's 14 chapters, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what I read.
And like man, just what a dense game. I spent so much time doing the Sujimon battle stuff. So like I'm literally going around town interacting with like raid spots to like fight people, capture them as my Pokemon, as my weirdos. And then I go and find other Sujimon trainers on the streets. I challenge them to a battle against their Sujimon. I do that enough times, I get enough experience to battle a gym leader.
Oh my god.
And that gym leader will give me a badge.
Jesus.
And in doing so, I can beat the champion and become champion of Sujimon by the end of it. I'm like halfway through this story, and I'm like, what the fuck am I playing? Like, what?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, because it's so crazy. Like, I met this one chick who, like, her Sujimon love her, so that's why she's so strong, you know? And then, like, when you get there, it's because, like, she's just basically created a whole, like, really sexy life for them. So, of course, they're, like, really devout to her and everything like that. So,
sure.
And, like, all these little different ways that, like, people, it's like, well, this guy's really rich, and he just, like, gives his Sujimon a bunch of money, so they're happy. So they have the power of greed on their side. And it's like a really dumb lesson, like, wrapped up, like, in every single battle that you do, just like a Pokemon episode. They put way too much time into this thing, and I put too much time into this thing. That's just one thing of the game, because then I fell into the Animal Crossing side of stuff. I finally got there.
Sure.
Because that's chapter 6, like you said, when it starts.
That's chapter 6, yeah. A very funny thing happens, and you get, like, kidnapped by a mascot, and, like, you end up on his island. Okay. And, like, he's like, you gotta fix this for us. And, like, you're on, like, a trash heap island, and you're like, you know, Ichiban can't say no because he has no boundaries. So he's like, yeah, I guess I'll become, like, the mayor of your island. And, like, I spent 22 in-game days turning this island around into, like, a metropolis with, like, brothels and host clubs and casinos and, like, blackjack and hookers.
You're plopping this all around, right? Is that what you're doing?
You put it all around. You have to make sure they're on a road, you know, because if a building's not on a road, then people can't get to it, you know.
Right.
Everything that you put down has different popularity, you know. I meticulously crafted signs, like street signs, and put those outside of every single establishment, you know, because that raised a little bit of popularity. My thing looks legitimately like a city, like something you would build like in Sim City or something like that. Like it was so rad. You don't have to worry about like power. Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, and I spent maybe 12 to 13 hours on just this alone, just like engaging with this part of the game. And I'm telling you, man, it was like just the loop. Like, okay, I'm gonna go punch some trees. I'm gonna go punch some rocks. I'm gonna go punch some trash heaps. Take all those materials. I'm gonna make a sexy club. I'll plop that down. I'll invite people out, but you have to like meet classifications to like get certain people out to like your island, and you can find other people in Honolulu to bring to your island. And I've got like deadbeat clown showing up, to like vacation on my island. I've got like all different types of people showing up, and like you can like interact with them and give them presents and like up their satisfactory. And at the end of their 3-day stay, you get a payout for like all their time that they spent there. And this is the money making method for this game. This is like the real estate mini game from like Yakuza 0. This is like the cabaret mini game, from like Yakuza Kiwami. Like this is this game's version of that, and it's just like it's so ridiculous and big. And I'm gonna keep on going back and making a bunch of money, because like when I went back to the main game with like $2 million,
good lord,
suddenly I was like, oh, I can afford all this stuff, because like I had a hard time maintaining $1,000 in this game.
Sure.
Like money is so hard to come by in this game. It's such an uphill battle until you get this island, that you're like, I guess I can buy like this sandwich, so at least I'm going in with a healing item to this fight, because I can't spend any more money, because I'm saving money, because a lot of side quests are like, hey, to engage with the side quest, you have to like pay me $1,000 or whatever. So like this game bleeds you of money for like the first 6 chapters of the game, and then like suddenly I come back and I'm like, the game's different. I'm a millionaire, man.
I own this island.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And the story's getting really interesting. It's more character driven, the story of this game. It's really about like the weirdos you meet along the way. But the story is just about Ichiban finding his mother, and like that's the story. It's not a deep story or anything like that, but like on his journey of trying to figure out where his mom is and why all these like gangsters and like factions are after her, who she's just like a simple lady or whatever. At least in the story, that's where I'm at now. She's like, all you know is she's just like this kind lady. But everything you do along the way is like super meaningful. Everybody's backstory is super good. All the characters are incredibly likable. I'm just loving this game. It's like probably gonna break into my top, at least my top 15 favorite games of all time. Like I can already tell, unless like the next 6 chapters just suck or something like that. Like
sure.
I just don't foresee that happening. But like I just like the amount of things you can engage with this game. I sat down for like 2 hours playing the Pokemon Snap mini game, like taking pictures of like streakers and stuff. Why?
Oh, that
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that part existed. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, why do it?
I don't know.
Not?
I enjoyed it. I just like sitting there and just being like, I missed that one. I'll do it again and I'll catch him this time. Just like in Pokemon Snap, you're like, I missed that guy in the hedges. They so cleverly put a guy in the background over there I just missed. I got to do it again. I have to get him so I can get a perfect score.
Dumb. I love it.
Dumb. This game is so incredibly dumb, man.
Yeah.
I got all the classes unlocked. The classes, how you get those, is super super funny. Like you'll go to like a tour place, and you go like, hey, I'm gonna go on a tour somewhere, to go do this thing. And like Ichiban will have like an epiphany and be like, oh my God. So like I got the samurai class, and the way that he got that, he was sitting on a trolley, like because he was doing a trolley tour. So you wouldn't even know from picking this from a list that this was the samurai class, and you choose, I'm going to go on a trolley tour. And Ichiban is kind of like dozing off, and he like sees like 2 kids fighting with swords like over there. And he's like looking at that. And he's like, huh, okay. And then he looks back over at a guy sitting here, and like the background as like the trolley is going, it kind of creates like an emperor, kind of like samurai helmet type of thing, Japanese like iconography or whatever. And Ichiban's like, oh, I have an idea. And then suddenly he's a samurai, and like.
So he didn't know about samurais up until this point, apparently.
He just didn't put it together, Dan. I don't know. So I got that, and I got the Desperado class, which is like the gunslinger class.
Yeah.
And I got a ninja class for the girl, Chitose, and I got a footballer, American footballer. So like Kiru-san is in like all football gear, helmet, pads, and everything, just like tanking his way through stuff, and it's stupid, man. I got a football player, a cowboy, a samurai, and a ninja hanging out in a team together, like taking on Hawaii and all their weirdos. And it's just like, this game is absolutely amazing. Oh, and I didn't even say, after I beat like the Animal Crossing stuff, it gives you an orbital laser that you like can shoot down like from space,
like the creator,
Yeah, just like the creator, and it like shoots down from space and like does like thousands of damage to somebody. That's like a giant move that I get to do.
So like,
and like, there's no story explanation for it. It's just like, yeah, Ichiban can do that, I guess. Wow. Absolutely. And and I've been using the summons a little more too. So I summoned in a like a big strong lady who came in and like beat up some dudes, and they all have kind of like stories as well. If you use them enough times, they'll be like, hey, do you want to go for coffee sometime? You're like, yeah, you beat up enough people for me, let's go do that. So
I've gotten that part. I've gotten to that part at least where you unlock one of your first fighters. That's a
your
summon.
Calls, the phone call,
and the first one, of course, is like a super buff lady, and she just knocks the shit out of people. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah.
And it's hilarious too.
You get some really cool guys. Yeah, you get some real.
Yeah.
Oh, I did a really good sub story with a guy who, he's like a ukulele, like a really like top charting ukulele, like groovy,
Sure.
I don't know, 311 style Hawaiian, Jake Johnson or Jack Johnson, whatever the singer's name is.
Jack, Jack.
Yeah, I get him mixed up, the actor and the singer. But, anyways, but as you dive deeper into his backstory, you learn that he used to be a heavy metal, like Satan metal artist or whatever, and but he transitioned from that life because no one was fans. But now this like dying kid has come forward and it's like, that was like my favorite act you ever did. So like, he has to decide whether or not he wants to abandon his super successful career or do something that means something for one person, that could change their life, And by the end of it, it's a dumb story, but like it's super sweet and like heartwarming. And I'm just like, yep, we're playing Yakuza. We're in it, man. Yeah, we're in it. You come for the laughs and then you stay for the big feels. So
I'm literally looking up a video of this builder thing because I love that shit. And this
could be its own game, Dan. It could honestly, they could just release this like on mobile, like in like it'd be awesome. And you can like go online, upload your island online so other people can visit it. It's Animal Crossing, dude. It is the same thing, It is.
That's
it
insane.
couldn't be more of the same thing, And they even make a Poke it too, and it's just like, don't worry, I'm not going to charge you for rent or anything like that,
Oh, sure.
And, so there's even like a nod. So like, we know what we're doing here, guys. Like we know what we're doing. This game reminds me of Hawaii Shakedown. And what I mean by that, I don't know if y'all remember this old, still like retro style game called Hawaiian Shakedown, which was just like,
that sounds familiar.
We are just going to throw every reference ever and from everything into this one game. And like, it's just going to be a blender of like, zeitgeisty pop culture references and stuff like that.
Oh, I remember this.
And it's also in Hawaii. And this game is just like that, where it's just like, how many things can we make nods to? How many mechanics can we like take from other games to pay homage to them and stuff like that? Like how much stuff can we get in this game and blend it all together to make an experience that is unlike anything else, And they nailed it, man. 10 out of 10, dude. This is a 10 out of 10 video game.
Dude, this looks like old GTA, by the way. Completely forgot about this.
Yeah. That's the style of it is old GTA. Yeah. Shakedown Miami. That's a great game. Or Shakedown Miami. Shakedown Hawaii. Excuse me.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, man. I mean, you guys know how I am. I like to listen, I'm not jumping like 8 games into this whole franchise. It's it's all this back here. I'm like, shit, dude, this is so much.
It's a lot.
So much. And I want to play them. It's just not something I've stepped through the door yet and be like, all right, well, I'm playing these.
If you want an entry in, just play Judgment, because there's only 2 of those games.
True.
just play.
And they're definitely 2 of the best of these types of games too. So like Judgment is
I love those
games.
Games.
Very high quality.
And they're more
I understand that. Like when people are like, yeah, you can jump into this game or whatever, but one of the main characters is the main character from the other 9 games.
Right.
So it's like
right.
There is a certain amount of like nuances that are just not going to be there unless like you've been around for this like 24-year ride that we've all been on. So, or 14-year, whatever it's been. 2005, I think, when the first one came out. But so yeah, I'm really enjoying it all the same, and I really wish Persona. I just hope that at some point I go, I've already played this, and I just stop playing that so I can.
Sure.
What am I doing with myself?
Yeah, I've already. Come on, man.
Rabble. I hope that's me when Brothers Tale of Two Sons comes out, the remake, the day before Rebirth, and I just go, what am I doing? I already played this game.
Yeah, right.
But having the knowledge that it's like a 5, whatever, it's not that long of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they added more shit to it, then I don't know.
I doubt it. I think they did say they added the co-op mode that came in later updates.
Oh, so, okay. Okay.
It'd be fun to play.
So
this
it's
game
literally
online
just a
together.
graphical enhancement, and it looks beautiful. So
It's a good game.
anyway, I just wanted to touch base on that, but we can do while we're here, we can just go ahead and do quick hits. Dan, what else are you playing, or what other stuff you watching?
So last night I finished Castlevania Nocturne.
Oh, what do you think
Nice.
of that?
Dude, jeez, I couldn't imagine and them making that first. So the first three seasons of Castlevania on Netflix were like beautiful, and then you start this one, you're like, wow, this somehow looks more beautiful. Like not that the other one now looks gross or anything, but like goddamn, dude,
There's
like,
some bells and whistles here, yeah.
yeah, it just looks even sharper now and like more and there's like certain shots. And have you both seen Nocturne or?
I haven't seen Nocturne yet. No.
Okay. Jeff, you said, did you finish it or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I finished it.
There's the one episode where the black character, I can't remember her name right at this moment.
That's racist.
She's
That's
talking.
racist. You can't remember her. That's racist.
Yeah.
It's very true. Very racist.
You remember one thing about her? Yeah.
Well, I mean, racism's kind of a big theme here because it's literally taking place in time and like
cool.
where it's referencing slavery and stuff. And that's what.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, so with her, there's kind of that element there, and there's this one shot where she's like running, and like the background's flashing like all these sort of color. It looks very painteresque, and it's just like I don't know, like the style of like that one shot's just like even more like heightened than what the show already looks, which is already beautiful, and just like I don't know, it kind of remind me of like that moment in Sea of Stars, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what moment I'm talking about, where it's just like holy shit, like things suddenly look different, and like my brain is melting. So it's kind of like almost like that a little bit.
That's right. This took place in 1792 during the French Revolution. So
yeah,
I guess I didn't realize that's
slavery was like ending or close to ending. There was definitely still a lot of like, but Annette was her name, by the way. There was definitely still a lot of biases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how they wrap that in there because obviously this is a world where there's magic and vampires and shit. So,
yeah.
And Annette is very important. She has this really unique powers, which is really cool. So overall, just to kind of like long story short, overall, it like was slow for me. I was still like
kinda
really
how I
enjoying
felt.
it.
Yeah.
But it was slow. And then the last like the last few minutes of like episode 6 and then 7 and 8 are like holy shit. Like
yeah, I agree.
Like holy shit. And especially the very end.
Oh my god.
The very, very end. I was like, oh, what? I was like, what? Because I was like, are they gonna tie something in somehow? And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it turns out I gotta backtrack now and finish the first show.
It's so good. It's so good, Jeff.
Yeah. I know it is too.
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 seasons. I just or 2.5 seasons, or a season and a half, I guess. I didn't get all the way through season 2, I don't think. But yeah, it's not even that long. I should just commit to it and just do it. You know?
Yeah, because I like went because like so when it like finished, then it showed like that I could click on Castlevania and be like, hey, go watch Castlevania. And there's 4 seasons, but like the first season's like only 4 episodes. So then I think it's like 4 episodes, 8 episodes, and then 10.
It gets
and
longer.
Then maybe 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're okay. So yeah, I did do. I got halfway through the show then, so I did finish season 2. I totally.
Okay.
It's just been a long time because I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it when it came out, basically, like around that time.
Yeah.
And that feels like forever. It feels like I was a different person back then. So I really do have to circle back and just watch it and just watch a recap of season 1 and 2 or something. Because they have that on Netflix. They have like recap or whatever. So
yeah. I mean, I think it's worth finishing. I do think the second half, because the second half is interesting, but like I think the first half is more interesting because of like
that's what I've heard
big
too.
Players involved.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
that's what I've heard too. That it started stronger than it ended, but the ending wasn't like the worst or anything.
No. I mean, the last fight is just like absurd. And like kind of honestly just worth watching on its own if you just didn't want to like really watch the last 2 seasons all the way through, but like watch that last fight. It's absurd. But I thought it was really cool. It freaking beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of more like I mentioned this before, but the art style reminds me of like 90s G.I. Joe type of, at least the way they're drawn, not the way that they move, because back then it moved.
Sure. Oh, of course.
Horribly in standard def. But like, obviously, it's everything's upscaled to modern technology. But the way that the characters are drawn kind of reminded me of like '90s cartoons or something.
I think it feels very like like an American studio having the love for anime and sort of like taking all of their like kind of inspirations of like what they grew up with and mixing it into what is a Japanese franchise. I mean, it's Konami. Konami is a Japanese video game developer. Technically, that's what.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah.
Japanese? I got to stop enjoying it then. You guys know me. I'm racist.
Yeah. Very, very good. Definitely starts a little slow, but still interesting. And then, definitely on a really big high. So.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Very curious what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think it did get renewed, so we'll see.
Yeah, it actually ended saying like, oh, and renew, like season 2 coming. So I was like,
oh, nice. Okay, I don't remember that for some reason.
Never know with Netflix. Yeah,
you really don't. I'm like, they didn't renew that. That looked like it was a breeze to shoot, but okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, spend your millions and millions of dollars on Avatar.
Shows, so.
Avatar.
So I finished that. I'm still plugging away at Star Wars. Star Wars is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
you're talking about
okay,
Jedi Survivor, right?
Yeah. Survivor.
Nice.
Where are you in the game?
The last main thing I did was in the desert.
Okay.
In the desert.
Aaron.
In the desert.
Jeddah. You're on Jeddah.
Yeah.
With the big Reaper.
Yeah, there was that big machine thing that we were all
did you do the cool part?
The with the green stuff?
Yeah.
With the teleporting and all that.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
It was pretty sick, right?
That action sequence was very Naughty Dog. It was very cool.
What did you think about the big villain reveal? Like you get to that High Republic guy and like awaken him and like
so I'm obviously not as privy. I'm not as privy to Star Wars as like you are. Sure. But at High Republic, that's like ancient stuff, right? Which is cool.
Not ancient. It's 300 years before.
Okay, 300. Okay.
Yeah. Not quite ancient, but
okay, but still like
Yoda was
far
still
back.
Alive, so as for context,
Okay, but still pretty far back, which is cool because I mean,
far back enough where the Jedi. I mean, like the Jedi were so different because I am reading those books, and like there couldn't be more different than the Jedi that we're used to.
Right.
So 300 years is a lot. Once Yoda got a hold of everything, he really bungled it. So that's a whole nother podcast, though. We can
puppets, man, always messing things up.
Yeah,
literal puppets.
Yeah.
It is very it's so like him just kind of like coming to and then like
I just love that whole moment where he's just like and he bleed like that's a thing that happens like in the universe now where like a Sith like if he gets his hands on a kyber crystal, like if he bleeds it by like putting all of his hate and anger into the kyber crystal, that's how they become red. So like when he does that and he just like it was such a cool moment, man.
Because it's happening real time. He's like saying the thing, you're like, oh, he's mad about something.
Yeah, well, and I don't know if you remember the trailers, but the trailers set him up to be an ally. So like all the trailers leading up to this is like, oh yeah, he's gonna be your buddy. You're gonna get a lot of insight for the High Republic and and like the very first scene you see him and he's like, nah. And I thought that whole sequence was like,
and the fight
totally
was
mind blowing. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And great fight afterwards. Yeah, super good. Yeah,
I love the way that he compensated for like the as a Jedi, like the lack of an arm. With just using his force to move the lightsaber around. Using the force.
Yeah.
So cool.
God, that was so freaking slick.
So visual and so awesome. Yeah. And Jeddah, if you remember, Dan, is the planet that they're at in Rogue One that like that the Death Star like blows up at the very beginning of Rogue One. That's like where old ancient Jedi temples are, which is like where you're at in that game.
I mean Jedi, so
get
it, guys. They'll never think
you guys get it. So
I'm one of those Jedis.
Yeah,
I'm one of those Jedis.
But yeah, you got two of the cool moments in that game. Those are those are some pretty big moments. And you got a lot to go. In terms of like how many
I think I'm like half-ish way through.
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah.
A little less.
Maybe,
I feel like there's a lot more game left, but I do remember that being like a whoa, I'm gonna see this game through type of moment, and I just sped through it after that. Like Night Sisters and Jedi are like classic enemies. You see that in the Ahsoka show too, where it's like the Night Sisters are just like these fucking Jedi, man, like ugh.
So like seeing like two of them team up and also like are in love, they're like getting shipped, like it's so cool. What a Romeo and Juliet story, in terms of like where they come from and what their stuff is, you got best friend Bode going around everywhere, like the characters are just really good in this game, I'm super excited for you to get to more big moments in this game.
And then you finally see there's a whole base in Jeddah that you get to go to. It's like a its own temple, which is equivalent of the cantina.
Well, yeah, the underground place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. And you get to meet in person.
Seer.
Seer, yeah, thank you.
Seer.
Seer.
Are you talking about the
What's her face?
Amanda
Waller.
She's like she's sort of like, she's bald now. She had like the
Deborah
short
Wilson
hair,
from
but now
Mad
she's
Deborah
bald.
Wilson, thank you. I'm like, I know her name, yeah.
And then
Deborah
Cordova.
Wilson.
It was really cool to see Cordova after like the whole Fallen Order. She's talking about it the whole time.
Yeah.
So that was rad when the door opened and he walks out, and I'm like, oh, it's that guy from the holograms. I thought he was fake.
Yeah, you're still alive. Another Jedi is alive. Look at this. Wow, holy shit.
I mean, there's not many of them. But...
there apparently are a lot of them, Dan. We went from 0 to 1 to like 30, over the last 20
and
years.
They're all in Jedi Survivor.
Yes. It's true.
Well,
they're surviving.
The interesting part, too, I don't know if you're talking at all to the vendors that are at the temple underground base, whatever you want to call it, at Jeddah.
Yeah.
But those people that are like, they have a certain oath to uphold, whatever. I don't know what they're called, but they have like the face coverings. And
they're like Jedi priests. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they're like, it's unclear what kind of force. Like they probably don't have any force abilities, but like they are like they're like librarians of the force,
Right.
Yeah.
And they take their oath very seriously. Yeah,
it's
I love
really
that
cool to have what seems like super like if that was in the movie, like they had a shot somewhere where you come into this room and there's like digital library of this information. You're like, oh shit. And you see these robed people walking around like they're doing that in a game. Like it's not. Oops,
it's pretty cool. That digital library that you see is the same style library you see in the prequels. Like when like Obi-Wan goes to like find stuff out about that planet or look up stuff on Dooku's. Like it is that same style. So it's like we know that some of those Jedi libraries got out of the Jedi Temple and were preserved here in this game. Big, huge lore stuff, lore implications, huge ones in this game. That like changed kind of the fabric of how we think about past events in the Star Wars universe.
I feel like I've gotten more lore out of these games than at least the movies. I know the shows have been exploring it a little better too.
Yeah,
but the movies have that small window.
All 9 movies are actually, they're never really good at giving lore. You always get the lore elsewhere. Yeah. The movies are, they have 2 hours to tell you kind of a comprehensive, coherent story or whatever. And you get all the lore from like all the nerdy, short stories and books and video games and everything.
Comics,
that's kind of how it's always been,
Yeah, kind of cool though.
So
especially
I do like
video
that.
games, because video games are like 40-50 hours. Some of these, so like
they even talk about like the lane that people are using to like hide Jedi in, which is what Obi-Wan the TV show is all about. So it's like the game is just like it takes everything that has happened already, and like implements it into its own story. And then it increases the values of those stories as well in the meantime, because these games are just so well written. So,
have you done any of the what are those temples called where they're like Old Republic? Is it Old or High Republic?
Yeah, they're kind of like puzzly temple things.
Yeah,
right?
Those temples. Some of those were like
Breath of the Wild.
Okay, what do you want me to do then? Like some of them were like, I guess I'll look it up on YouTube. I would get so mad. And then I looked it up and I'd be like, I'm an idiot. Like I kept trying to do something
I just have to put the ball in the thing. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most of the time that's what it is.
I would say my one gripe, and it's not even anything that's that serious, where I'd be like, I'm removing points from the score, is that like, and maybe this was the case with the first one too, and I just don't remember. But there's definitely moments where I'm like moving the camera. I'm like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? Like, I have no clue what to grab onto.
There was a couple moments I had to look it up. I'm just like, oh, there's a hook right there I didn't see.
Sure.
There were a couple moments.
Or like a vined wall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
had that happen. I had that happen at the exact part, the portal part. It was like right before that, or maybe even after, because I think you revisit that part of the map at some point.
Okay.
And I was like, it wanted me to swim, but I didn't understand that. Like, I didn't get that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just kept making laps for like an hour. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
where do I go? I didn't.
What do you,
I didn't
what
know.
do you
We're going in
want?
circles.
What do you want?
Yeah. What do you want from me?
But otherwise, it's been really cool, and again, I will take credit on behalf of me and Derek for this game being wider.
No.
Dragon Age.
No, I'm not ever
Inquisition
going to give
style.
that to you. I'm never going to.
I will absolutely take all of the credit.
No.
so.
Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it.
But yeah, that's been a good time.
Awesome, man. Glad you're getting to that one. Yeah.
Alan, I think Alan Wake, not so much this week. It's been mostly Star Wars that I've been playing. And then what was it? Oh, I wanted to. So you know what? I wanted to specifically not even have a whole thing, but just specifically mention because Tim isn't here. All right, Dad can't shut me up. Okay.
Okay. Oh no.
I booted Sekiro up. Okay. I
Oh,
booted
God.
Sekiro up.
Here we go.
Best Souls game. All right. It's the best Souls
Yeah.
game.
As two guys who don't give a shit about Souls games, we don't care, Dan.
Hey yo,
Well, then that's fine.
quit
Then you
being a
can't shut
mark
me up.
for Souls games.
Your
the
point
best
is
Souls game.
lost on us. I don't give a shit.
I
You know,
will
that's
give it to-
awesome. I actually know a lot of people who think that Sekiro is like the
Yeah.
is the more better Souls
It's like
games
it's
than I
like
know.
the black. To me, it's almost like it's the black sheep because it's the most different. Like
It's
I,
the
I
most
think if you
difficult too.
just-
I would say.
Yeah,
I think
would
the
say so.
barrier to entry in that game is so insanely high. That it does feel like a cool kid club for sure.
Yeah,
like
'cause
all
Elden-
people who
to
beat
me-
that game are part of like an upper echelon elite club of gaming that I'm just not a part
Thank
of.
you.
So,
I thank you.
know?
I am part of that.
Seriously,
club.
I mean that, and I kind of mean that as like a shitty snooty thing too, where people are like, "Well, it beats Sekiro," so But no, I mean like it is something worth bragging about because that game is so hard, and it's like one of the only games I've ever played in my entire life that when I was playing it, I'm like, I don't get it. And not that I don't get why it's good. I don't get what the game wanted out of me.
Yeah.
Like I know it's supposed to be like a rhythm game. I was just like, it was actually too much for my dumb adult
Parrying
brain,
is hard.
you know?
It's hard. Even just basic
Extremely-
enemies.
Just because there's levels of parrying and like you have to know when to jump but it was way too much, and I'm telling you, like it impresses the shit out of me when I watch videos of like people playing that game and I'm like, this is what it's supposed to look like. Not like me like bumbling around everywhere and like jumping off a cliff because I don't know where my feet are and stuff like that. Like that's me playing that game. So
yeah. I think that's why I appreciate it the most. Like, and obviously jokes aside, like, I mean, I do legitimately think it is the best one. And I appreciate Elden Ring for sure. It's just Elden Ring to me just felt like an open world, like Metroidvania style, with jumping Dark Souls / Demon Souls game. Like that's just basically, it's just take those games prior that came before it and add jumping and
you could have called Elden Ring Dark Souls 4.
Right.
And that's just the open world one. And like no one would have batted an eye. I totally agree with that. I know it's probably I know some people are like, no, it's different. I can't believe you said that. But like, I agree with you. I think they're absolutely the same in every single way, except one's an open world game and one's
but George
kind of
R.
a
Martin
game.
or whatever.
George R. Martin.
Yeah.
George
He's
R.
never
Martin.
played the game, so who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, Sekiro to me is just like, it's just the movement and the fluidity of it feels to me almost more like character action game mixed with what From Software does really well. Like it feels like this like really cool like marriage of those two things, and
like
I think that's why I like
Ninja
it.
Gaiden and From Software's abilities like marrying each other.
Yeah.
I get what you're
So I think that's why I like it so much, and also it's a samurai game, which is cool.
And big time. Yeah, I do like the aesthetics of it. I love like all the like just the topography of like the maps and stuff like that, or just like so much elevation and yada yada. I will say for everyone who's not here to defend Elden Ring that I think a lot of its love comes from like the community aspect of it, and, like sharing that experience with your buddies, and like 100%. Showing someone a little like cave they didn't know about or whatever. I feel like a lot of people grasp onto that, where like Sekiro is a solitary experience. That doesn't mean it's worse or better. It just means it's different, so
they're very different.
But I'm on Team Samurai. Dan, let's stick it to Tim.
Fantasy games
I have no dog in this fight and I don't care. I'm just here to agree. Next week when Tim comes on and says Elden Ring is better, I'll go, yeah, Tim, it is better. You're right.
Like, Kyle, wait,
I'm
no.
Switzerland. I don't care.
But yeah, Sekiro's really cool. So I just had an itch to replay because I was watching somebody. She was doing a first playthrough of it, and she was like at the end, at the very very end, and like literally taking days to beat this guy because he's freaking hard. But like she was determined, and she actually did finally beat him, and it was awesome. But like I just had the itch. I was like, oh, let me pop in Sekiro because like I asked for it for Christmas because I kind of missed playing it. So. Yeah, that game's great. Yep. All right, I'm good. I'm done.
That's all you had?
Done.
All right. You can tell my I even less than Kyle. I'm so indifferent to Soul stuff that I'm like, whatever Dan says goes, and whatever Tim says goes. I don't care.
We're both free agents, Jeff and I.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff signed.
I'm here to emptily
Sekiro
agree
brand.
and disagree with everything.
Yeah.
How much can I pay you? No, I'm just kidding.
I'll go through my quick hits next. The only other thing I had to add, well, Kyle talked about Infinite Wealth. I played a little more of that, but then Persona 3 came out. I almost said 5. Persona 3 came out, and I've been distracted, of course. Anyway, talked about Grounded 2, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I played the Tales of Kenzura Zao demo. It's an EA Originals, but it's like one of those lower budget ones, kind of like Unravel was.
I don't know it was EA.
Yeah, I think they're at least publishing. But the premise is it feels like a direct response to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, because it's like it's rooted in like African characters, and like they talk about their tribe.
That was at the Game Awards, right?
Yeah, it was revealed.
Came out. It was like this story is about like my dad or whatever.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we were just like talking, and I was like,
Probably.
I realized I was like, oh, we're talking. This guy's like pouring his heart out. We're kind of
It's pretty easy to fill up space in those quiet moments during the shows, and you realize like, oh, they're talking about like cancer or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoops, sorry, everybody.
James crying. Whoops.
Yeah. Wrap it up, right? Wrap it up.
That's wrap up music. Well, anyway, I played. As soon as I boot this game up, I'm like, oh, it's another Metroidvania, and it's more like precision action and platforming in terms of how you parry or dodge. And the dash dodge is more like you're dashing through. It's like a shadow dodge, which I guess technically Prince of Persia already does that. But you do some of that, and like you start with like a ranged weapon, which is interesting, which refill. It's more like you're shooting energy at somebody, and it refuels after a few seconds. And that's kind of cool that it starts with that, and it's not like Prince of Persia. It's like the arrows and stuff like that. But it's definitely like kind of feels like a response. Like, I mean, aesthetically, it's kind of similar. You're doing a lot of similar things, backtracking a lot of similar ways. It's just not as smooth. Like the Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is just so.
Yeah.
That's why it's so beloved, at least for publications and us, is that it's so responsive and it feels so good to play. But granted, this one was a demo, and this game comes out in like a few months, so it'll be a while before we see if that gets better, I guess. But I played that demo. It is interesting. Finished up Percy Jackson, the Olympians on Disney Plus, the TV show that Edge is on. Remember Edge? Huh?
Oh yeah, the wrestler, sure.
Yeah, he's like the villain in the show. It's really fun.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
When he was the villain in the show Vikings, those were some pretty fun times. So.
Oh really?
He can
That's
do
cool.
villain. Yeah, he can be a good villain.
Yeah, he looks very menacing when he can. When he's got the full beard going, the full Viking look, he looks very menacing.
Yeah.
He plays Ares. So that's fun. Ares. So I enjoyed the show. The finale was probably the best part of the whole season. I felt like they were kind of spinning their wheels a little bit with a few episodes there, but the finale was tops. It was great. So commend them for that. I rewatched Tim Heidecker's comedy special from a few years ago. It's called An Evening with Tim Heidecker. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh my God, dude. It's just so genius how bad it is. Like he's deliberately tanking. He's deliberately tanking and being bad at comedy for laughs. And his level of commitment to it makes it feel like he's being genuine. Like he'll even mess up lines and he'll like be like, fuck. And throw the mic down and walk off stage. Then he'll come back up and be like,
yeah,
take that again.
Like it's a mixture of like Kaufman and like Norm Macdonald,
right.
like very very of like that type of like dedicated to the bit type of humor,
The first 5 minutes
He's
alone,
one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Same here. Yeah.
Absolutely
The first 5 minutes, or I guess it's maybe like 10 minutes alone, where he's fumbling with a microphone while his entrance music is playing. And it's like, I can't get no satisfaction, but it's like a rework, so it's not copyrighted or whatever. So it's that, you hear that for 10 minutes straight while he knocks over a mic stand, and you just hear as he's like picking up the mic, and he's the mic stand gets in the audience a little. You hear him yell, "Don't fucking touch it! Don't touch it!" He gets so mad.
Yeah, that's good.
And then the guy won't turn off the music when he gets settled with the mic stand, and so he gets like Bill O'Reilly levels of mad, and he's like, "Turn it off!" And he like runs off stage, throws off his jacket, and he's like, "I said turn it off! Nobody here appreciates what I'm doing." It's so
funny
fun.
that he can capture, because like this type of humor that he does is captured via like hyper editing usually.
Yeah.
But he's somehow able to capture it on stage, with like not obviously that amount of like a TV show amount of editing,
Yeah.
And like I think that's really hard comedy to do.
It's a hard sell too. Imagine if you went to that show not knowing who he was.
And imagine going to that show knowing comedy. Who he was. I mean,
true.
Imagine going to the show knowing who he was and getting like a kind of a non
not
traditional show. I know you're probably there for a non-traditional show, but like, I don't know. I don't know if anybody was ready for bits like that.
Right.
So.
There was one bit that he said where it was a really bad joke. Obviously, they were all bad jokes. It's kind of the joke itself. But one time he said the punchline, and everybody gave him a standing ovation. Ironically, it was really funny. It was like the audience together, like they saw one person stand and then everybody started standing, and it was he was like, "Oh, thank you," and it was like such a bad joke. And then there's one where he like talks about trying to order a Coke, and they only have Pepsi at the restaurant, but he keeps fucking. I swear to God, it's like 10 minutes of the special is him trying to get the joke right, and it's not even a good joke. If I wanted a Pepsi, I would have ordered a Pepsi. That's the punchline. That's it. But he keeps saying, "If I wanted a Coke," and he goes, "Fuck, let me do it again. So he has to do the whole setup. He has to do the whole setup over and over again. It's so funny. Oh my God, man, I love it. And then I just wanted to an evening with Tim Heidecker. It's on his YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I see it right there.
I wanted to give a shout out to Current Cinema because I put a video up. It's a solo episode. It's like a really, really short one too, where I just talk about my favorite Sundance movies that I watched a couple weekends ago, so I can spare you guys the snooze fest that is indie movies. No, that's not why. But I just felt like that would have been a good outlet for it, and that was the first time I ever did a video like that, and I did some editing too because I got a little racist in it, so I had to do some edits. Obviously, that's the only reason anybody does any edits is when you get racist.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have to remove that from the episode. It's incriminating. And I played some Enshrouded, but like not nearly enough of it to talk much about it. Like I died, and then I was like, I think that's enough for today. Like, there was a part where
frustrates me really bad, but
there's a part where
I'm sure Tim's already beat it, so
yeah,
I don't think that there's a beat it.
Him and my buddy are like playing it really well, and I'm like, I can't.
I don't.
Man, you guys are like, you guys are locked in. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like I'm very like stunned by like everything in that game where I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
There's a cool part game. Like early on, and I was still very early. Like it was teaching me stealth mechanics. That's how early it was. But it was like, but I'm wandering around a lot. So there's a part where it's like sneak into the bushes, and then as soon as I did, bees start attacking me. I'm like, why did you have me sneak through a pack of bees?
The game was like, "Ha, gotcha."
Yeah. So
we taught you how to sneak, and we also taught you not to trust.
The enemies, right? The enemies also detect me as I'm fighting off the bees, and the enemies kill me in like 2 shots because they're very difficult.
See, that would have been like a fun thing to capture.
Yeah, that would have been funny as hell. But I haven't gone back to it since, but it is still installed, and I do want to play it more. I just feel like we should definitely get a multiplayer thing going. It's more of a I think they allow like 16 players a server, so it's like a really expansive multiplayer experience. And I don't know, there's just value in that. I feel like solo. I think a lot of reviewers that are like kind of accustomed to these type of survival action games they're like, yeah, I had so much fun playing solo just as much as I did play multiplayer. But for me, and maybe Kyle too, I don't know how you feel about it. I prefer the multiplayer type of play style with this and Valheim. Like, I kind of need that experience.
Yeah. I like people taking jobs. Like, I'll be the homesteader. I'll build stuff, and like you go out and get materials. You know, like I like that stuff.
And then you go, oh crap, help! I'm getting attacked by a yeti or whatever. And
someone needs to go get berries. You know,
you be the forager. I'm the gatherer.
That stuff is really fun.
Who's gonna cook? Yeah, it's fun. I do like that, man.
But that's all I had. So, Kyle, what else have you played or watched?
Nothing. No, we got so much show ahead of us.
Guess what? We talked about it already.
Skip my turn. So much show to get to. Yeah, we're already running really long.
I'll go to the state of play. Tim, thank God, Tim put notes in here. Oh my God.
Do you want to make that the last thing? Is that the most important thing? We could just like go
real
quick through general.
Well, we'll close with the state of play, and I'm gonna ready for a speed run.
Yeah, speed run. These
Xbox news. Ready, guys? Microsoft says Palworld is the biggest third-party Game Pass launch ever. Over 19 million players across Steam and Game Pass. That's great.
Suck it, awesome. Sony.
Palworld.
Xbox. That's why the show is 3 hours long, because we just go off the rails all the
time. Okay, Nintendo. We'll go to Nintendo next because the second Sony headline is really the state of play. Nintendo has released a Mario vs. Donkey Kong demo. I didn't know that, so I have some work to do. But it contains 4 levels of the first world of the final product, and gives them a look at the 2-player mode where you can share a Joy-Con with a friend. Don't do that. I never do that.
Never share. Never share
your Joy-Con. Yeah.
And it will have access to the game's new difficulty settings and the single-player mode, classic, and casual styles. That's cool. All right, general. This is non-partisan. I'm gonna call the consoles partisan like it's politics. This is non-partisan news. Hi-Fi Rush data mine appears to suggest PS5 and Switch ports are coming. And I think,
suck at Xbox.
Yeah,
now we're back on the ponies.
PlayStation.
I think somebody higher up at Xbox said stay tuned on stuff like this recently too. So like the fact that Xbox games are potentially coming to other consoles like PlayStation, Switch.
Yeah. I think Bethesda will remain a case-by-case basis for their games.
Right.
You know?
But like Hi-Fi Rush, and I think there was something else too. Sea of Thieves. That was another one that's being explored.
Which is crazy because like Rare is like one of their crowning purchases that they got a long time ago. So for anything Rare to be like cross-platform is pretty big.
Yeah, definitely. So Infinite Wealth news. They celebrate 1 million shipped copies. That's a big deal for them.
That's
shipped copies, especially physical. That's physical stuff. That's a big deal. And it's the 30th game to earn a coveted Famitsu 40. I don't know what this is. I'm grateful for Tim.
It's Famitsu is the hardest grading Japanese publication to exist.
Yeah,
getting a perfect score is like
a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Yeah, very small list of games have gotten it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He put a list in here of all the other games that have gotten 40, and it's not that many.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's a big.
They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, been around for a long time. Yeah,
several Metal Gear Solids got one.
Makes sense.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Goddamn right it did.
our podcast game of the year for 2020, Ghost of Tsushima got one. That is correct. Yeah. That is correct.
That's right.
Score.
These are right things.
Death Stranding. Death Stranding got one, which not a lot of people would agree with, I think, but I agree with that. Yeah, that's okay. They could be wrong.
Dude, Final
Street
Fantasy
Fighter 6,
you don't like
Breath
art?
of the Wild.
You don't like Death Stranding? You don't like art? Okay, whatever.
Dude,
Final Fantasy 13-2 got one.
13-2 got 40.
And 12.
Hey, sometimes things are, you know what I mean? Sometimes people are wrong. You're allowed to be wrong once, you know?
Yeah. And Final Fantasy 12, that's what you were saying, right? 12
yeah, but then I saw 13-2. I was like, what?
Yeah.
12 I'll take, because like 12 I've come around on in a big way, but like 13 can eat it.
The first non-Japanese game to receive a perfect score was Skyrim. The second was GTA 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
The third was Ghost of Tsushima, even though that one is rooted in Japanese culture.
Right.
Yeah. Made by a bunch of white guys.
It's true.
All right. But the next headline here, PC simulation game Planet Zoo is coming to consoles in March. Dan, I don't know who to be excited about this with.
I love zoos.
I love zoos and planets.
Zoos.
Hope I get to ride a giraffe.
No, I'm anti-zoo. No, pass on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those animals are so sad.
Put them all back in the wild and they can't survive.
Yeah, don't do that either. Yeah, it's a complicated situation.
Yeah.
The studio behind Celeste has released a free 3D version of the game to celebrate it. It's called Celeste 64 Fragments of the Mountain. Tim played it and said it's super charming and it's free.
Yeah.
So that was like a celebration thing that they did. That's really rad. I don't know that I want to play a game that looks like N64 in 2024 unless it actually came out on N64. But
absolutely do.
I don't know about that. Maybe I'll play it because it's free. You know me with free games.
Yeah.
The new Deus Ex game. Hey guys, gargantuanly bad news. Got canceled. I was gonna make it sound like I got good news, but I don't. Reportedly canceled amid layoffs of around 100 at Eidos Montreal. Eidos, whatever. I don't know. More like I don't know how to say it.
Eidos? No, it's Eidos.
Or like Eidos. More like I don't know how to say it.
I don't know how to say this.
You get it, guys?
Yeah.
You guys are dancing on the grave of one of my favorite game series right now. I know.
This is.
For it.
I know.
You guys, I will not stand for it.
It is.
Listen, Nate danced
This
first.
is a no-bit zone. This is a zone
no
of
bit
mourning.
zone?
Kyle,
Okay.
This is a zone
Kyle,
of
they
mourning.
danced first. They danced first.
It's true.
But yeah, this is some extreme horseshit, and I'm waiting for Embracer to finally live up to their name and start embracing things. Because so far,
I hope they embrace fucking off because I just hate that whole entire company so much.
Yeah,
for real, dude. They made it sound like, at least the headlines and our general sentiment was when they saved, quote unquote, these formerly Square-owned developers, was like, awesome. We're going to get these games that Square had no intention of releasing. This is going to be so cool. And then they've just been canceling.
No, now I got to watch my favorite things die twice. So thank you for that.
Great.
Thank you, Embracer. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, hey, guys, we're going to end with this. That's why we're going to end with the State of Play, because that was the last headline. Good Lord. What a shit show. Not this show, I mean Embracer, but also us.
Yeah.
All right. So it started with Helldivers 2 trailer. Hey guys, that game's coming out. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it.
So excited for that game.
Unfortunately, the launch time is a stupid window. It's like 3 a.m. my time.
Dude, they were saying stuff like everyone's working towards a common goal in this game globally. Right. So like anytime you and I play a game together and Joe Schmo and Jane Schmo play a game together across the world, like we're all working towards a common goal. And as we hit certain like checkpoints or whatever, like the game changes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so it's like there's like an active like director or something like that that's kind of like switching things up or like aiming you down different ways and stuff like that in terms of like how you're like progressing through what they call the global campaign that everyone's kind of working together on to kind of complete. And there were shades of that in the first game, but they're just like really expanding on the idea in this one.
That's cool.
So excited for this.
That's not a detail I knew about. I saw the final preview that IGN put up, where they were, I mean, basically just showcasing all the stuff that you can, the upgrades you get, like in the certain gears or whatever, they're not really summons, but you know, like turrets and stuff like that, and drones and stuff. That stuff looks really cool, and how you can call an airstrike and you could still be in range of it to get killed by it, which is great.
Oh yeah, dude. The amount of times I had a shuttle like land on me in the first game.
That's true.
And I'm like, here, oh man, my gun's coming in.
Yeah. Oh no, I misjudged that.
Yeah. Or the escape pod, like you're waiting for the escape pod to come down, and you're like, here it comes, and you die at the very end, you know, like.
And you're just surrounded. You're like, I'll hold him off for you.
So cool, man. I love this game so much.
Yeah, I can't wait. And apparently the switch to the third person thing has been like really awesome. According to the previews that I saw.
I like this perspective better for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
it's gonna
makes it feel more expensive and stuff like that.
Tim put this in all caps. Sounds like he's really excited about it more than anybody else. But Foam Stars is coming next week.
Well, since he's not here to defend himself, I will say Tim and I have had many personal conversations about how he's extremely excited for this game, and I can't even get through that statement. Oh man, this game looks so stupid. Who cares?
Literally, who cares? All right.
It looks foamy.
The developer says we don't really like being compared to Foam Stars. Well, you shouldn't have made a Foam. I'm sorry, our game Splatoon.
You did the Tim Heidecker thing. You did the.
Yeah, let me take it from the top. Hold on. Let me take it from the top.
Damn it!
Hold on, I gotta mess with my. Is this thing on?
They didn't want to be.
So the studio being a little miffed from being. And like, it's okay that you're like Splatoon. There's only one Splatoon. There can be another game like, that's allowed. Hey,
at least they're not getting sued like somebody else is potentially maybe getting sued.
Well, everyone's after Nintendo right now. I would love to be a fly on the wall at Nintendo going, why is everyone after us? Everyone's taking our stuff, man. Animal Crossing, like Pokemon,
taking our ideas.
Splatoon, we're getting jacked over here, guys.
It's cute that the developer would be like, don't compare us to that. Just imagine the Pal World developer saying, "Don't compare us to Pokemon. How dare you?"
Yeah.
They never said that because that'd be stupid. Like, of course it's like dumb. Pokemon.
Yeah.
So of course this is like Splatoon or whatever jizz-oriented game.
If you play this game, you're part of the problem. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, you're part of the problem, Gaston.
I don't know. I'm being vague about it.
You heard me.
You get it.
You heard me, Gaston. You're part of the problem.
No, Gaston. You know what? I have a. Real quick. Let me jump on my soapbox real quick. All right, real quick.
You have a Gaston soapbox?
Oh no.
Real quick. Gaston, look at me right now, all right? Do not shit talk Resident Evil 2, you fucking schmuck. All right?
Whoa.
Shit talk Resident Evil 2, you schmuck. All right? You like Dead Space. All right? Those are like the same games, but one's in space. God damn it. All right?
Wow.
All right.
You got him all fired up, Gaston. I'm sorry. Yes.
Gaston, I love you. I'm just kidding.
Gaston, we love you. We're so sorry.
We love you so
much. Gaston, I love you.
But
look at me, Gaston. Look at me. I'm very serious. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you so hard.
Dan, he's out of line, but he's out of line, but he's got a point.
It's Resident Evil. It's just Dead Space. Space, not space. It's the same thing. It's like the same thing.
It's the same thing. Same but different, but still same.
Yeah, I guess I don't live in an either or world. I just have enough room in my heart to like a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
And that includes Foam Stars, which we're very excited about.
And that includes Foam Stars, which I will be playing next week with Jeff because he secretly likes the show too. He's in the conversation.
Helldivers 2, get out of here. Foam Stars.
Y'all about to get foamy. Y'all about to get foamy.
Right.
Very foamy. The next, we have a few PSVR reveals that I don't think any of us care about. But
you can skip those.
There's a Metro one. I actually was excited there was going to be a new Metro thing revealed, and then I saw PSVR, and I was like, God damn it!
I know. I saw the writer's name, like a story from Bob. I go, oh my God, is this Red Metro? Yeah, and then
and then it had like VR in the corner, and I'm like,
I'm probably the biggest VR guy here, and I don't care. Yeah,
right.
Shit, so.
It does look cool though. It does look cool.
You have Zenless Zone Zero that what do you call those games that's like
service
so
games?
They do,
service games.
Gotcha mechanic games.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. They do Genshin and
but they're making it for PS5, which is cool.
Listen, I know that these games are really popular. How many of these games can be sustainable?
I know.
How many?
You can't just keep releasing the same type of game and then be like, all of them are profitable.
Successful. Every single time they're making millions of people are playing all these games. Like it's so crazy.
They're great looking anime games, and people.
Yeah. I think the era of waifus and husbandos or whatever is just like so strong. People just want to be around their like hot counterparts or whatever. So.
Sure.
I think this one is. It's cool to know that that they're securing all these games, these like third-party games for their console. But Dave the Diver being one of them. This is really cool that it's coming out.
Godzilla crossover.
And they're adding Godzilla content in May.
That was so
Another one that like back to back. These were Tim reveals for sure. V Rising coming to PS5 this year.
Yeah, big news. Yeah,
that's awesome. And then we had, which for a lot of people was probably the game of the show, but it looks like another BioShock for sure. Not a slight. That's awesome.
Basically,
it's BioShock, but it's called.
I need to follow the thread here. So Ken Levine was like, "I am done with this studio, who probably wanted to continue just to make BioShock games. Right. I'm gonna leave and go make BioShock."
Right.
With less money, with less resources. It's just a weird move. I'm happy it happened because the game looks super awesome. I think the game looks awesome, but it's just so funny to me where he's like, I'm gonna break out on my own to go do the same thing I've been doing my whole career, which is again, I like the flavor, it's okay to like ice, the same flavor of ice cream. It's ice cream, I'm here for it. So.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
But it's just weird that you would leave your pretty cush job, who probably wanted you to do BioShock forever, so you could leave to go do BioShock Forever.
BioShock was EA, right? Was it EA?
Yeah.
No, it was 2K. It was 2K.
2K. That's right. 2K.
Well, that was
because
the
I was trying
publisher,
to.
though. They're not the. They didn't develop it, right?
No. 2K is a publisher.
Yeah, but like Ken Levine had his team under 2K, I believe.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because 2K had like branched out into.
There's branches of it. Yeah.
So I was for a second
closed.
there. I was like, well, EA. He probably just wanted to be like, "F you, EA. I'm out of here." But
There
that was
could have been like a fallout. I really don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. We didn't get a Last of Us documentary for Ken Levine, so.
Sure.
That's
this
interesting.
game looked
I'm
really
seeing
cool,
that they
though.
closed the studio. That's weird. After he left.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Go figure. The one main
right,
guy.
Yeah. Who's gonna fill those shoes? You know?
Yeah, exactly. They probably just went with him. A lot of the talent.
Yeah, my hot take: BioShock Infinite's the best BioShock, so everyone can suck it.
Ooh,
How about that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Spicy.
Well, I have played 3 hours of the first game, and let me tell you, it's the best one.
Yeah.
That's the only one I have experience with. So
that's the one everyone. That's the one that everyone likes. So.
Oh, okay.
You would be right.
Jeff, all you need to know is there's always a lighthouse. There's always a lighthouse.
Oh, okay. I understand the reference.
That's Infinite's ending, but yeah.
Oh.
Always a lighthouse.
The next reveal-ish type of thing was the Silent Hill 2 remake. They showed some more of that. It looks really good. I don't know what to tell you.
Looks creepy.
Good job, Bloober. It looks really
Did we
creepy.
skip Stellar Blade, or are we getting into it later?
It's later.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know why the notes are like that. I don't know. Whatever.
Edit it out. Edit that out.
Tim, go ahead and
edit that out.
Tim, if you could just edit this whole episode
Tim,
and edit all the.
Tim,
I assume you're listening to this 3-hour episode, and at this exact moment, you're going to take our notes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
if you don't,
the
we're gonna be pissed.
Silent Hill 2 remake looks great. I mean, they showed the teaser of the whatever the cone head looking thing was.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but I know the look.
Pyramid Head,
thank
Jeffrey.
you.
Silent Hill 2 in the series has really clunky like combat. So seeing the combat look kind of more like Evil Within or Resident Evil, I was pretty into that. I was pretty happy that
it's
looked
pretty
the way that it
visceral,
did.
right?
Yeah. It just seemed like you were swinging where you were meant to swing, and you were shooting where you meant to shoot,
Right.
which was not how the original games were. So
Interesting.
I'm excited for like those big changes. And Silent Hill 2 is considered the scariest game ever made. So
Right.
this is
I
an
feel like
important one.
I gotta play it then.
This
Yeah.
one's an important one, so
I want
It
to
is-
shit my pants during several several times during the playthrough of it. That's what
Lots
I want.
of-
yeah, I remember making my friend play through this game with me because I was too scared to play it alone. So
Hold my hand when
like
I
back
play
in
this.
the PS2 days, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
they
never
did-
played it, so
With this,
Oh,
I haven't
Dan,
played
you're
it
gonna
either.
love it.
I
Yeah,
missed all of
this
that.
is so up your alley.
But they did release like a prologue type of. It's not really a demo, but it's like a full game. It's like a 2-hour thing called The Short Message. Wait, that's some good advertising right there. Hey guys, it's short. What do you want from us?
that's the message.
But it looks like it's a first-person type of thing.
Look like PT.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
looked like someone goes, "Hey, just do that thing Kojima did."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Which
what I was hearing.
technically-
Yeah.
Silent Hill 4, I think. I don't know if that's all first person, but I know there's first person parts in Silent Hill 4.
Silent Hill 4, the room, when you were in your apartment, it was first person, but I think
Okay.
it went to like third person when you like
Gotcha.
hit a level. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That game is about being trapped, so like you were trapped in your apartment the entire game, and every time you get out, like I think there's one moment where you even go through the toilet or something like that, like you end up going into a version of Silent Hill, only to be pooped back out into your apartment that's now more decayed and fucked up. That game's awesome, dude. I love Silent Hill 4.
That's cool. Anyway, I have the whatever prologue downloaded. I'll totally play that.
Yeah,
but I just haven't yet because I want to do. I have exams.
After
Persona 3.
After their like what was that game that just came out that like everyone shat on really bad? That was like watch a daily episode and interact with choices and yada yada. Like
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
It totally is a thing on fire right now, and they're like, how do we like get the brand back on track? Just give them like a cool PT game.
I think it was called Ascension. Silent Hill
maybe.
Ascension.
Yeah,
they were like trying to make it a Netflix interactive thing, almost kind of like that, but
yeah, you have to like load up an app and you have to interact with it every single day, and like it's apparently incomprehensible mess apparently.
Right.
So
moving on to this is guys, buckle up. We got Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is enhanced remaster of Sonic Generations from 2011, but this features new content from Shadow, which aligns probably with the Shadow. I think there's a Shadow movie coming out this year.
Well, so Sonic 3 is going to have Shadow in it, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's not coming out this year, though. I thought that was next year.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's coming out the end of this
game?
year. It's a Christmas movie. Okay.
Listen, Sonic Generations actually one of the better Sonics. So
nice.
Yeah.
Take your word for it and never play it. I don't have time for Sonic remakes. Get out of here, remasters.
Jeez.
Another Dogma Dragons.
Dogmas?
If I wanted a Coke, fuck. Another Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer. I mean, look, they're highlighting more and more the epic Shadow of the Colossus levels of fights here.
Yeah.
And it looks so incredible.
You know what's cool about this game is that we've seen a lot of it, and we really haven't seen any of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you start playing that game, you're gonna be like, they didn't cover any of this shit.
Yeah.
Like any of the trailers, you know, like.
Dude, if this one's just as weird as the first one, then yeah, there's so much that we're like not aware of. Like
absolutely, yeah. I think we're
what's
in
funny
for a really
is the pushback on the director being like, we don't really do fast travel in this game, and like
they didn't in the first game either. Yeah,
some people are like, ugh, and I'm like, you haven't played this game though. Like, so why are you bitching about a game you haven't played yet? Because you don't know that the fast travel being absent will impact you or not. It probably won't.
Right.
Because the first game, it didn't matter. Like, it was fine.
Yeah, it was a currency in the first game that you like only had a certain amount of things of, and like they want you to walk around you're supposed to be in the world. You know, Mafia 3 did something similar where it's like, yeah, you just have to kind of drive to places. You can't fast travel, and like that gave you time to listen to some banging Vietnam music, Vietnam era music, and drive around with some of the great control. Like I like that extra level of immersion. You know.
Same.
And like, you know, Cyberpunk does it too, where I know there's fast travel in that, but now you can like take the tram or jump in your car and like auto drive it. So, you know, like I like a game that's just like, we just want you to stay in the world. We don't want cutscenes loading screens interrupting you or anything like that. We just want you to be here. And that's a choice. If you're mad about it, don't fucking play it.
For real.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
And also
really
shut up.
You, man.
Go play Foam Stars.
Everything about this game sounds cool, but no fast traveling? Oh, I'm out. Oh, be out. I don't care. Like, be out.
Yeah, go play Foam Stars, you cuck.
You smooth brain cuck.
I'm here for it.
All right, so this is where we get into Stellar Blade deep dive, even though I'm pretty sure this happened earlier in the show. I don't know. I can't remember.
Hey, real quick. This game looks pretty stellar.
Jeff, Dan, horny
there's a blade
games
in
are
it.
back, guys. We're back, dude. We got horny games again.
Oh, we do.
We got girls in like skin tight, revealing like outfits, like kicking ass. Like we were really prude here in the industry for a little while.
We are
you know,
so
like,
back. Yeah,
we're so back, guys. We're allowed to be dudes again. Everybody be dudes.
Dudes.
Yeah. Dudes. I love it, man. I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. You know, I you know, we don't, you know, Bayonetta 3, I understand just came out, but like we don't get a lot of these like sexy, you know, like heroin games anymore. You know, not these big, not to this budget. You know, like this looks like this game looks incredible. Like the graphics on this game look so great. You know, and it looks like there's like a camping mechanic. You know, where you set up your base. And like, you know, you're feeding in, you know, some sort of materials and stuff like that. Not like a survival game, but just like, I don't know. It kind of gave me Final Fantasy 15 vibes in terms of just like, we're somewhere, let's set up a camp and this will be our spot where we kind of do some stuff here, make some meals or whatever. The combat looks amazing, you know. They show so many outfits for her. So like, again, that's part of the DNA of these like sexy heroine action games, you know. So
absolutely.
Playing Barbie, you know, man, I love the look of this game. These are definitely my types of video games, and the character action games, not specifically the sexy girl games.
I mean, listen, you want to be inspired by Nier Automata? By all means, be inspired by Nier Automata.
And I feel like it's been since Nier Automata that we've gotten a game kind of like this. You know, again, Bayonetta 3 kind of aside. Bayonetta 3 kind of exists on its own because like that game embraces its sexuality and everyone's just like, but anytime any other game is sexy, people are like, ugh, what is this? You know, did we ask women about this? You know,
right?
Okay.
Were women part of the writing team?
Yeah, we're winning part of the writing team. Get Naughty Dog on the line. But yeah, I think this game looks awesome. I'm super excited for it. And like I know people are like, and I'm not people, but like people are like antsy about like, well, where are all the first party Sony games or whatever, and like they're coming. You guys, they're coming. They didn't just stop making first party games. So just everyone chill out a little bit. I'm sorry we haven't heard about them in a little while. Maybe that kind of sucks, but like their ability to grab third party, games or second party games and make them exclusive or whatever, and like come out with so much like style, I'm happy. I'm getting an exclusive game. I bought a PlayStation 5. I'm playing a PlayStation 5 console exclusive. That's all that matters, right? We're playing an exclusive game. That's cool. So yeah, I'm pumped for this game. Super pumped. And that's coming soon. Way sooner than I thought it was.
I know. I was not anticipating April.
I thought they were going to be like summer.
I was just thinking, I was like, man,
cool,
we don't have anything to play at all this year. So
yeah, I know. We are well is dry. The well is dry. I am bored.
Yeah.
I'm ready for foam stars. That's how bored I am.
Yeah, right. It's so dry. We need a little foam to wet and everything up.
Yeah,
a little lubricant.
A little lubrication. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Tim, edit all of this out. Tim, edit all of this.
This whole episode out.
In fact, the last 20 minutes, just take out. I don't want people knowing I like sexy action games. Can we just cut that all out? Yeah.
Whole thing. Yeah, cut the whole thing out. Cut the whole thing out.
Actually, can you make it sound like Jeff said all that stuff and not me? Can you
just AI voice and transpose that?
Jeffrey, is this a game that you want to play? Do you want to play sexy
I'm
anime
totally
girl?
Getting this. Let me see what the competition is. Obviously, April's probably going to fill up the closer we get to it. But right before that is Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Oh my god!
They're releasing another giant JRPG like at the quarter one of the year. God damn it!
What
and then
hell,
Stellar
man?
Blade
What
is
is
3
happening?
days later. So I 100 Heroes feels more like y'all's jam. I'm probably still going to play it and like that game. That feels more like y'all's jam. Stellar Blade feels more like an action game. I would.
What type of RPG you're ever gonna like ever again? I just won't do it. I won't.
I feel
the
like
ones that you end up liking are the ones that I was like, he's gonna hate that one, and the ones I think you're gonna love, you're like, I didn't really like that. So I can't read you at all.
I can't understand it either at this point. I really can't.
And I don't mean that as a criticism. I think it's like you're keeping everybody on their toes. So
if that game has the like sort of like intrigue of like those earlier Suikoden games, not that I'm like super familiar with them, but there's definitely a lot of like kind of serious tones to it and really cool characters and great writing. You liked Octopath Traveler too.
Jeffrey.
So I think a little bit of that.
I think that those games are kind of kindred spirits, in ways that maybe you don't see right away.
I was going to say in that other game, and I was like, what was that other game? Sea of Stars, which is has that party. I mean, it's not as big of a party as 100 freaking people, but I mean, it is like exactly. 6. Eventually, by the end of the game, you get like 6 people. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But again, that's like a 3-day window to find out if I'm gonna prioritize Stellar Blade or get totally enraptured by Heroes. Who knows? Who freaking knows? They couldn't have picked another day in April. Okay, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Just be 3 days after.
I can't believe so many JRPGs are coming out. Like
it's like they're just planning it. It's a conspiracy at this point. It is a coordinated effort.
Japan, take a break.
Screw over our free time.
Take a break.
Yeah.
They did. It was called the PlayStation.
I know you guys are crunching over there.
Yeah.
I know you guys are doing it. Yeah.
They're making us crunch because they crunched. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm having to crunch all this gaming. Yeah. It's
Kyle,
a crunch cycle.
Kyle, they did take a break. It was called the entire PlayStation 3 generation.
It's so true, yeah.
It was like the weakest generation.
It was so bad.
But they have more players on that than Xbox Series X, so it
was a weird time when like one of the biggest JRPGs of that time was on Xbox, Blue Dragon, where it's just like what?
Lost Odyssey.
Another Xbox only game. Great game too. Yeah. It's funny that Xbox was pulling that chain at that time.
The next game, because we have to move on I'm going to say it very slowly though. We have to move on very quickly. So sorry. The next game is Rise of the Ronin that they covered.
What's happening?
And dude, This game just looks so freaking sick.
It looks
dude.
so cool, and I know
Oh my
that they've
God.
said like that there's like difficulty sliders now, but everybody online is still going like, this game's gonna play like Neo. This game's gonna play like Neo, and I'm just like, I don't know if you guys just know something I don't, or
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe they mean the way it feels.
confused
like
by
the
that.
way it
maybe,
feels.
yeah, I don't know, but even the way
Maybe
that it feels, like when
with
I'm
the
looking at it,
difficulty
it
on
looks
high,
way
I
more
don't-
faster
or
paced
hard?
than Neo does, like way more with way more traversal options. Like I just like
Yeah, the
I
gliding.
don't see
yeah,
it
yeah.
at all, but like. I don't know. Maybe people have played it, and maybe it is just a Soulsy Neo game, and
Yeah,
like we're all
sure.
gonna get bamboozled, But like,
Yeah.
at least there's an easy mode, so
Easy,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. At least there's an easy mode where I can die later in the combat instead of
Yeah.
right at the first hit.
Sure.
And I
That's
think it's your
cool.
right to leave easy mode in or take it out. But if it's in, I'm gonna use it on a game like this.
Totally. Same here.
If
Exactly.
it's hard, if it's like a Ghost of Tsushima game, I'll play that on normal. Like,
Yeah.
and it looked very Ghost of Tsushima like, because like
It
you were
did.
changing to high, medium, low stances using like there's like an icon at the bottom of the screen. It looked very Tsushima like.
Him with the what do you call those guns with the thing on the end of it? Whatever. He was using that
Bayonets?
as a weapon. Bayonet. Is that what it is?
Bayonetta.
I see. That's the thing. I was like, Bayonetta? That's not right.
It's a
game.
bayonet. Yeah.
Bayonetta, I
Gamer
hardly
brain
know.
doesn't function right.
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta. I don't even. Hey,
Hardly know.
hey, how you doing? Hey, if I wanted a
Tim, edit
Pepsi-
that out. Edit that out.
Yeah, just cut it out. Just cut it out.
But yeah, it was really cool seeing that mechanic too, and how he's like using it as like a sword full on, and then like shooting them in the face or something like that. Like,
This does seem like the most story-focused game this studio has ever done.
are the Neo games not known for that? I didn't know.
No, they're Soulsy. Like, there's maybe
Oh,
more
okay.
story in them than a Souls-like game, but like they're more mechanics than
I see.
story
Gotcha.
traditionally. Even like back in the day, like Ninja Gaiden, like you're not going like, man, that Xbox game had a great story. Like really it was just stuff happening just so you could get in a room to fight a guy. Like that was like the whole point. So this looks like a major story with huge character development, and like it looked like there was a big focus on that type of stuff.
It's also an open world game, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you're playing as multiple characters, with different kind of abilities and everything. So yeah,
pretty cool. And
yeah, this
samurais.
game looks rad, dude, and it's coming out like the same day as 2 other big heavy hitting games. No big deal. Not a big deal at all. I should say one other clearly heavy hitting game, Dragon's Dogma 2. And then you have the Princess Peach
Those
game,
games are
which
coming
is
out on
going
the
to
same day?
appeal. Yes, yeah.
Princess
the same
Peach is
day.
coming out this.
What are you?
Yeah.
Wait, I didn't have a chance to process this.
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma and Rise of the Ronin are the same day.
Yeah.
2 gigantic Japanese open world video games.
Probably the biggest this year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Okay.
And I guess Princess Peach is counter programming to people that go, those other 2 games are too dense. I'm just gonna play this Peach game.
I almost guarantees I'm not buying this Peach game, sadly, which I think that
Exactly.
game looks awesome, mind you.
It does.
so.
It looks great. When they actually showed it, the gameplay, I was like, oh, I didn't expect it to be so action oriented, and then like it switches per level. It's really
Hold
cool.
on, real quick. Don't even think. Which one would you choose? Dragon's Dogma or Rise of the Ronin?
Dragon's
Don't think.
Dogma.
Yeah, Dragon's Dogma, because it's a known. I still don't like. I could get Rise and it just be too much like Neo, and I'm like, I hate this game.
Yeah.
I would pick Dragons too, just because it looks red. So
It's
Dragon's
like Kyle
Dogma.
said, it's a known thing. Like
I feel like
played the first
we
game.
are
I
getting
played
a
enough
sequel
of the
to a
first
thing
game
that
to
is
know.
like one of the most beloved,
Yeah.
underground hits of all time. So
yeah,
and it looks incredible. I mean, it just, oh my god, dude.
yeah,
And then of course a few days later, South Park Snow Day comes out, and I'm totally getting that.
yeah.
I'm totally getting that game.
Couldn't even begin to care about that game. It looks like so low budget trash to me.
It does,
It
but
could be
like-
really fun. It could be super
But
fun.
knowing that Matt and Trey wrote on it, and it's kind of the same story as the new kid story from the last 2 games,
yeah.
it's like I don't know. Maybe there's
It's
something
connected
here.
to all that, which is
Yeah.
cool.
So I don't know. Cautiously optimistic is the word I would use for sure. But it does kind of look like an N64 game. It's kind of weird. Anyway, Until Dawn remaster coming this year.
Nah, Until Dawn is like still my favorite one from
I
them.
love Until
It
Dawn,
is.
man, and the
Why-
graphics are so much. I saw a side by side, man, and like,
Are they really that much better?
It is incredible the difference. I'll pop a thing in chat here. It is incredible the difference. So yeah,
Just from
I
a
love that
remaster.
one.
They're not even remaking anything. That's crazy.
yeah.
I really liked that one. I mean, I liked the newer one. Shoot, what the hell was it? The camp one for all camp
The
counselors.
Quarry.
Quarry, thank you.
The Quarry,
I did
the
really
Quarry
like
is
that one.
legit, dude.
But this one is still my favorite. So there's a lot
I
of
like this one a lot. Yeah, this is the reason I like this studio is because of this game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, at first I was like, "What are we doing, guys?" Like, I mean, I feel like I just played this game, even though it's a few years old now, and I'm old. That's the problem, not the game. And I was kind of like, "Why are we doing this?" Supermassive could have done like a well, I mean, they are doing a game that's kind of they're doing the one that's with Dead by Daylight, the Frank Stone one.
I just
or
put
whatever
it
it
in the chat
Yeah.
if you want to take a look at just one picture. It's incredible, the difference, like the amount of detail.
Wow!
It's like it's not just like a facelift, like it is like, I mean, it's a big deal. The graphical upgrade,
which is cool. I'm glad that
Okay,
this game
that's really
deserves.
yeah. That's wow. Okay, that's really impressive. I got to go back and watch this again then, because at first I was like,
classic Jeff just having
Classic
big
Jeff,
feelings
just
about something
checking
that
out-
he doesn't know shit about.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I do best, honestly.
I do best.
Hey guys, this is the Kojima part of the show. Dan and I are going to step away while Kyle.
I was actually going to step away.
Well, no.
Was this
I'm
my
stepping
part?
in. I'm stepping in. Are you kidding me?
I'm the only one wearing a Metal Gear Solid shirt right now. That's right there.
All right,
everybody.
listen.
Look at
You don't
that.
know what I'm wearing under this. You don't know what I'm wearing.
Show me. Show it. Show it to camera. Show the world.
Just fly.
Yeah.
Show me your boobs.
Show me your stellar blades.
Tim cut that out.
Yeah, can you cut all that out, Tim?
Actually,
In
could you
fact,
leave all of this
just
in, and the
cut
stuff that we asked you to cut out, just make it 3 hours of the episode?
Stretch it out on loop.
But I think what was the order? Because the order is different in the notes. I feel like this is different. It was Death Stranding 2 first, and then he said, "Hey, I'm doing."
Yeah.
Okay.
He did Death Stranding 2
Yeah.
first. In fact, he didn't even come out. It just the trailer just started, and you knew
did,
immediately because like,
It's weird.
come on, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the first frame comes up, you're like Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, got it. Yep, Death Stranding. That's where we are.
Did y'all see George Miller in the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clocked it.
That's
immediately.
cool.
Yeah, that
So
was rad.
he's continuing his trend of using
directors,
directors'
yeah.
likenesses like as characters in this.
George Miller, is it?
Yeah, he's the guy in like the hat, like who's with,
okay.
yeah, who's like bringing back to life whatever.
Oh, I didn't even
entity.
see. I don't think I've ever actually seen George Miller, so I just googled him now. It's like, oh, I
So
see.
when you look at him, you go, "Hey, that's that guy who made the most perfect movie of all time, Mad Max: Fury Road." So
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
anybody
put a
that
face to
disagrees
the,
is
put a
wrong.
face to
Yeah,
the talent, baby.
Yeah. I can't wait for
yeah.
Tarantino to show up in one of these, and it'll be the most jarring things ever. It's gonna be so
yes.
fun.
I guess the big takeaways are gameplay wise for this trailer was immediately we saw Decima Engine. This is the first Decima Engine PS5 only game. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, because Horizon was on both consoles.
Sure.
Forbidden
Yeah,
West,
true.
you know, so like this is
Oh,
the
you're
first like foray into. I guess if you're not counting the DLC, I think the DLC was not on PS4.
You're right.
I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So like we see a flash flood happening that's like ripping up like all the things that people have built along the way, and like that's what's cool about like this game is it looks like, hey, we're taking the walking stuff and now we're adding like fuck you mechanics, you know, like, oh, are you comfortable right now? Avalanche, you know, like,
Sure.
and then like there's just so much stuff in this trailer where it's just like it's really going to put some like danger in your way in ways that are new, and seeing the different biomes in this, like he's walking across a desert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It looks very globe-trottery. You know, they have a ship now which is going to act as your base, which is pretty cool. It's going to be interesting to see like why don't you just fly everywhere then? Like, why am I delivering anything anywhere if I can just like fly to the destination? Sure. Interested to see how they're going to like gameplay mechanic that one up, you know. And they just show a lot of like comprehensible stuff, and then they show a lot of, dare I say, incomprehensible stuff, which is very Kojima and very of his marketing.
Mannequin.
You brought up earlier, the mannequin's perfect, right? You know, I like when he does the scary face. You know, it's very funny.
Yeah.
It's running at like 5 frames per second, which I just absolutely love, you know?
Yeah.
You mentioned the guitar stuff earlier. We got Higgs is back, baby. He's back. If you haven't played the first game, fuck you. I'm spoiling it. He's the main bad guy from the last game. He died in that game. He's back though, and he's got Joker makeup on, and I'm so here for it.
He's the
all
Crow.
the way here for it.
He's the Crow.
Crow. I'm a Crow. And it's so excellent because then you get totally not Gray Fox dropping in, not ninja version, but samurai version Gray Fox dropping in. Yeah. And then there is a battle with a electric or power shooting, like it's
literally
an
electric
using
guitar
it as a gun. You know, it's so sick. Fighting against a samurai, a robo samurai with a sword. I'm telling you, dude, like, I know some people are like, when is like it just too far? Like, when have you gone too far? And to those people, I say, we haven't gone far enough.
No,
We haven't gone far enough, you know? I think it's going to be absolutely excellent. Like, this is the most unhinged Kojima's ever been. Like, no one is editing this at all. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, this is just so stream of consciousness, like him. And I'm so here for it. I'm so excited.
I liked the callback of the baby coming out of the throat, but then instead of the thumbs up this time, what came out of his mouth is
the ship that you drive. Yeah,
the ship came out. Yeah, the ship came out of
what
his
does
mouth.
that mean?
Like,
Like, and usually you see that scene when you repatriate, which means when you die and like get reborn again. So when you die, you turn into that, like, you see them blue, like in the trailer for a moment, or like, I thought it was like monotone grays, but it's actually a blue, and that's what color you are when you're repatriating, when you're in what they call the seam. So this game is going to be about you venturing back and forth into the seam, you know? Yeah, guys, I got some stuff out of this trailer because I'm a fucking Kojima pro. I actually got things I pulled out of it that I can share with you guys. So like, this game's going to be about going back and forth through this seam into the beach. The beach is now birthing human beings and stuff like that, and it's going to be about, like, what are those real people? You know, they talk about the tar being primordial soup for living, like, stuff and everything like that, you know. And there's going to be a lot of like free will, nature versus nurture stuff. Free will, I get, because like you see a lot of characters in the trailer like with like puppet strings on them, strands coming off of them.
There's a literal puppet.
And it looks like your Ellie Fanning character, you know, that you get a glimpse of her, like her face, like just really clearly, like just this with tar all over it. I think she's a primordial being coming from that tar and stuff like that. Yeah. There's just so much stuff you can take from this, and like, what are they gonna do? Like, there are scenes where Norman Reedus is young, and then there's scenes where he's old, you know? So like, there's gonna be some sort of time dilation or time stuff going on. Maybe it's an epic where it takes place over a lot of time. You know, like maybe you end up playing as Ellie Fanning later. Like, who knows how much stuff is going to change in this game, you know, in terms of like,
dude, that one shot where he's like he's walking on the highway, and you see that like almost cyberpunk-esque city in the background. Like,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
I don't know. Just that one shot, like, for some reason, something about that one shot as he was running down the highway in the city, that just like blew my mind. Like, it
absolutely.
just, it's gorgeous.
It's very, very cool looking, you know? So you have like really built cities instead of like coming from bases, which kind of felt like in the first game, you know, like now it seems like some civilization's kind of happening here. You know, so I was saying that, like, you know, the ship coming out of the baby, that's like repatriating, you know, like, so I don't know what's going on there, but like, I just have a feeling that like that's conveying you going through the seam and everything like that, or being reborn, like, you know, the ship going through a certain process that like Sam Porter Bridges have been through before. Also, they talk about in the scene where Higgs shows up, he grabs the gun and he goes, looks like you trade your string in for a stick, you know, which again, that's part of the marketing, was that like Kojima was always like, well, you always use sticks in games, but I want to use string, you know, string brings people together and it's not combative, whereas a stick, it's for hitting things, it's combative.
Sure.
Them saying that means that this game's going to be more combat focused. Like that's what that's conveying, you know? So like this game's going to be a little more about shooting and taking down stuff, a little more traditional mechanics in that ground, but I don't think they're going to throw out all the weird stuff that they brought up as well. You know, it's going to be a happy marriage of familiar and kind of new ideas.
I kind of love the passive stuff in the first game, where you're just walking around and trying not to shit your pants at how creepy it is. You know,
absolutely. It's very, very, very moody. You know, and I will say that the game, you know, its strength is not combat. You know, so like I think a lot of that stuff is going to be reappropriated to kind of make combat a little more feel good. Not that it felt bad or anything like that, but you could just tell like this is like a game that's not about combat. In fact, killing people in the first game had dire consequences. You know, if you killed people, they would blow up into atomic bombs. So you're not supposed to kill people in that game. Whereas like this one, you know, maybe there's different rules and stuff like that. You know, we don't even know what universe we're in. Like there's a lot of theories online where the logo is inverted. So like the logo like came up in the first game, where this logo comes down. So there's a lot of mirror imagery and stuff like that. Sure. And then people pulled on that string a little more because they found out that that Fragile, in the first game, her whole body was left in Timefall. So her body is old as shit because of the Timefall. And someone put a bag over her head, so that's why she looks young up here. But like in the trailer, she has young hands, and then like whenever that like, you know, when that like little like skin part where they pull that thread out of that person's skin and like the black goo goes all over. When she pulls off her glove, it's young, and then as the goo gets on her hand, it goes old. So again, there's some timey-wimey stuff going on here, or maybe extra dimensional or ultra, other dimensional stuff going on here that we just don't know, about what's going on. And I feel like all the rules that they established in the first game are just about to be like totally upended in some ways that like only Kojima could do. And
because it was already weird as hell, right? I mean, that game
was so weird, man.
A lot of weird stuff.
It's too much art, Dan. It's too much art.
Tone down the art. Tone it down.
It's weird. It's funny the level of weird that Kojima is compared to the level of weird that like the Yakuza series is, and like they're both weird.
But they're
completely different brands of weird. Yeah. So interesting. I'm
cool.
Freaking pumped for this game, and I'm not gonna pretend to. I was just basically comfortably confused in what I watched in the trailer, and I just basically knew that I had somebody like Kyle to do the legwork on what the hell we just watched. But mostly I just love.
It was half of my day yesterday.
But mostly I just love watching his new marketing when there's more substantial stuff to show. When it's something like OD where I'm like there's faces talking at me and I don't know what to glean from that yet.
Yeah, that's a classic Kojima first trailer. The second trailer, like this is the second Death Stranding.
This is the second trailer, right?
Yeah, the second one always hits harder. You're like, okay, double down on the weird. We got a little bit of ideas. We got some gameplay. Like that's where OD, like in the first trailer for Death Stranding, like you don't get gameplay. You don't really get what's going on at all.
Yeah, so at this level, I love being like lost by everything that feels like the dialogue's written to be deliberately like non sequitur stuff that people that aren't as adept to Kojima language will be like, that makes no sense. But people that have played his games and
they're just talking in in-game jargon, in-universe jargon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's so. Like he doesn't care who he's leaving behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I like about like his style of marketing, where he's just like, listen, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
You're gonna play my game or you're not going to. I don't really care.
I mean, it's a type of a gaming experience that's gonna go viral regardless. Like, I mean, everybody's gonna play it to be like, what the hell is this?
In the first game, you had pee-pee-poo-poo grenades. These are weird games, guys. You have a grenade called number one that's made of your urine, and number two that's made of your feces. These are real game mechanics, guys, that I'm not making up.
Speaking of weird, what is the full title of this game?
Death Stranding 2 Into the Beach or From the Beach?
I think it's just
on the beach.
Yeah,
something in the beach.
That's literally the sub. Yeah, the subtitle.
Yeah. And the beach is kind of like the area that people like. It's a time between. It's a space between worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and remember, there's already an interdimensional storyline going on in this series, because like those dead things or the stranding and all that stuff, it's coming from somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like the beach is like a highway that like they get from their world to our world. So it's like we already have layers of worlds happening, which is why everyone's kind of attaching themselves to this idea that like multiple worlds are happening. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. We might see multiple different, and remember, I'm saying remember, maybe you guys don't remember, but like in the first, like everybody's Sam Porter. It's like when you go, hello, another Sam Porter goes, hey there, if they're in their game next to you, even though you never see them. So you already get the idea. And in that first game, they're like, you were just here, weren't you? And like your character's like, no, this is my first time here. And he's just like, I just met you yesterday. That's weird. So like there's already this idea that there's like extra Sams out there, or universes bleeding together that don't make sense,
which is literally just like, all of us playing the game.
It's just, like, just all of us playing the game, exactly. So it's like that all that stuff is already in the foundation of the game. So like just get ready for like weird, okay, they hopped realities, or this happened, or all the realities are bleeding. Like that stuff's it's on the table, man, because it's already baked in. So nom. Eat it up.
Nom.
It's very nom. Very nom.
Yeah, I'm as not as surface level as I can be. I could be more surface level because I did play the first game. But you know what I mean. I'm not as experienced, and I'm still like hella hyped for this game based on what we saw.
When you were watching, like, there's nothing like a Kojima trailer. There just isn't. So like, like even like Bruce from Inside Games, like he's not a Kojima fan. He doesn't really like any of his games, but he's like, I'm so pumped every time a trailer drops because I'm watching something I've never seen before. You know?
Yeah, it's just wild.
You're absolutely right. I've never seen someone fight samurai with a guitar, and they're both like metallic robo people. So.
Yeah. The element that kind of blew me away with the game was I have to assume Guillermo del Toro helped with this, artistically speaking. The stop motion puppet that's like on Fragile's person.
Yeah.
Clearly moving.
He's gonna be what's the head's name in God of War? Ymir. Mimir. Yeah. It's going to be your Mimir for this game, where you're going to be walking across wastelands.
Dude,
and he's going to be like, "Hey."
He even made that thing where he was hanging up behind him, and he's like, "Wait, why are you putting me there?" And then he had to put him to the front. Like,
that was funny.
Yeah,
but he's clearly moving like at a different. I don't know if it's like
5 frames per second.
5 frames per second.
Yeah.
I have to guess he consulted with Guillermo del Toro on it, because Guillermo del Toro did Pinocchio a couple years ago.
Sure.
And that's entirely stop motion, like handmade, handcrafted, all that stuff. So I'm wondering. Yeah. It's so funny. It's so cool too. Like oh my god.
That's another Higgs thing where it's like, what are you, another useless life form and a husk or whatever, Like again, like every time Higgs talks, he's talking about what the themes of the games are going to be explored. Like everything he says in the trailer is the only really important stuff in the trailer. Anytime where flip side, Fragile, like everything she says is like purposefully, maybe not misleading, but they're like vague, and it's hard to like pull on what she's talking about and stuff like that. But Higgs, like he comes in and he's just like everything he talks about is like part of the themes of the game. I think they're going to explore. So
good shit.
10 minute video, 100 minutes of information.
Pretty much.
Right.
Good though. That's good. You don't get another creator making this kind of stuff that
what else is good
to dive into it. But he's coming back, man, with a action espionage game. Obviously it's not a Metal Gear game. He still doesn't own that stuff. Yeah. That's Konami's baby.
Let's get real. It's a Metal Gear game.
It's basically Metal Gear. Yeah, it's Judas. Yeah. It's what Ken Levine did with Judas. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's gonna be Metal Gear, but his name's gonna be
he's making this game to celebrate 40 years of him in the industry. So that's a big milestone. Still kind of doing, and then going back to stealth espionage, what he started on. It's just very poetic, and of course it's what everyone's been. Please make another Metal Gear Solid style game. So this is just like it's for the fans, it's for him, it's for his legacy. I couldn't be more pumped for this project, because like. You're gonna take these weird ideas and bring them in to a place that's not saying no, but into a more grounded mechanical experience for video game wise. Whereas Death Stranding's exploring a lot of new mechanics. Like we're going back to the base stealth, shooting, cracking necks, like basic
hiding bodies,
gameplay,
all that shit. Yeah,
but like still weird stuff like Psycho Manus, freaking
like the weird stuff's gonna be there, but Konami's not gonna be able to be like, dial it back a little bit,
right?
Like
exactly.
they kind of always were, like. When you're playing Death Stranding, you're going, you can tell that they said a lot of no to him with Metal Gear Solid, because Metal Gear Solid is weird, but it's still a little grounded, Whereas I think that now we're gonna get a Metal Gear Solid with nobody telling him
just
what
unhinged
to do.
Kojima.
Yeah, it's gonna be so unfiltered. Yeah,
so awesome.
And that's about the coolest news that you could get out of that. And he says he's working on this next after Death Stranding. When is OD getting worked on?
Yeah, I know. That feels further along.
And he also said the same things about this one that he did about OD, where he's like, it's gonna bend what movies and video games are. Because and I'm like, you just had this pitch with OD, So it's like, I don't know. He's obviously got an idea of what he wants to do in his third act career here. And I couldn't be more excited for it. He already. Like how it zoomed out, like to Paramount Picture. Like he's already got a production company making movies for whatever this thing is,
right.
So it's like everything's already in motion. And like, by the way, that drone shot's rot. The way that
they look sideways
at the camera and then it like came out and revealed their position. I was just like, this guy just gets it.
That was cool. Anyway, that was a really good all around state of play, in my opinion.
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Especially the stuff that we gabbed about the most. But I mean, obviously there were some games in there that we were like, okay, we've seen everything for that. Well, not everything, but you know what I mean? We've seen a lot of that. We're already sold on it. Move on. Foam Stars, for example. We're clearly very sold in that game. We're very excited.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a good time with it. And they're doing another direct for Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm assuming
Later.
a demo. I'm assuming a demo is going to be available day and date.
Oh, that's
if I
what
had to
everyone
guess.
said. Yeah, I think somebody
Yeah.
even said that it was added in the back end. Like, I'm sure people already hacked. Like,
Oh, they already
it's
found
pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they already found it. So
I won't play
Um,
that demo. So,
So that's
how's
in
that?
like a week. Oh, that's on Tuesday.
2 days.
So that's
Yeah, that's in. Yeah, that's.
I
the
will
day after
only
this day.
play. I will only play that demo if there's like unlockable stuff. If it's like
Same.
play this
Yeah,
to
if I
unlock.
hear there's unlockables, I'll play it, but I won't play it otherwise.
Yeah, otherwise
No.
I'm I think I'm
like
gonna.
16's demo had a purpose of like this is a new type of game for Final Fantasy.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And the story and stuff like that. Like I didn't know.
Yeah. And it had transferables, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Well, it was that data carried over. Yeah, if you finished it, then you'd start
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
like,
true.
I'll
I don't
just-
remember
yeah.
that for some reason. I thought I played it twice,
Yeah.
but you're right. I did not play it twice. So yeah, if it's something like that, totally a game. But if it's like just like this is like a chunk of the third act with no
Yeah,
story
we just want to show you the
parts.
mechanics. I'm like, I'll get there. I don't
Yeah,
need
I'll
what am I
discover
gonna
that
like
myself.
tease
Thank
myself
you.
so like it
Yeah.
makes 3 weeks of waiting like harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah, that's it for this week. I don't think is there anything else that we should cover, or does anybody have anything aside from like more Foam Stars hype or?
Dude, I mean, do you want me to end or the show? Do you want to end the show, Kyle? Or I mean, do we?
I
I
can
don't know.
step up and end it if you want me to, but I don't
Yeah, I
want to
got-
step on anybody's toes.
I have an ending like ready to go. If you know,
I kind of had
obviously,
something
I'm
in
always-
mind too, but again, like,
Oh, okay,
who knows if
yeah,
it's better than
go ahead.
yours. I
It's,
just,
you know,
maybe
and,
like
you-
hearing yours first, and then I'll know what.
No,
I'm
you
sorry, what?
you
Well,
you can.
hold it.
And what you can go at Dan.
Well,
I'm sorry. What
well-
Dan? You look like you were gonna say.
Yeah,
Nope,
I
you're
just
good.
feel,
I
I
was-
feel like I'm talking over everybody.
I was just thinking of foam. Honestly, I was just thinking Foam Stars. You know, that's all I'm
Yeah,
thinking
so
about.
much foam in my brain too.
I
yeah.
like that ending. We can just go. You know what? I like Foam Stars, and we can just wrap it up.
There we go.
Wait, do you
I
want
like-
me to say that though, or did you want to say that?
Oh, I love Foam Stars.
Okay, you're gonna say it. Okay, I got
Follow
it.
us on YouTube and subscribe to us on Spotify or whatever. Whatever the order of events is there.
Yeah,
Go
there's a
Foam Stars.
website. If you go to the website, there's the thing. You click on the thing.
Yeah. If you open the thing, you
Yeah.
search current gen podcast, you
You
find
gotta,
the
I think
thing.
you have
Yeah.
to left click though, because
Click
if you
on
right
it.
click, it might
Yeah.
open up a drop down window, and it could.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
You could be right.
Could
You know what?
complicate
Just
your
I would
progression.
consult with your tech friend. if
Yeah,
you're not
I
tech
think there's a
savvy.
YouTube video of how to click on stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
maybe follow that.
Just
Pause
Google
this,
current gen
pause this,
podcast,
go
how
to
to
that
click
video,
on things and subscribe.
Come back here.
Right.
And finish up your interacting.
Yeah.
Close
And
that tab
also,
though, right?
Go Foam Stars.
Close that tab. Go to twitch.tv/dapper_chocobo.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
And I'm out.
Hey, all right. We'll be back next week with Helldivers 2 and Foam Stars.